Broadcast.
You might have a lovely scent filled room.
Ooh.
White bitches get this shit tattooed on their arms and shit, like Shayla V, whatever the fuck that is. What is that, French or some shit?
Let's see, we are. We're good. Here, we turn this down. About the chat.
You're live streaming this on your YouTube, correct?
Yeah, I think we are. We should be. Okay. Alex CEO, thanks for joining us. Ola Panda Rose. Let me know, guys, if the sound's okay. We got a mic between us here, so let me know if you guys can hear us here.
Let me get on my thing real quick. And yeah, let us know how the microphone quality sounds. I'm actually gonna check it on my phone too and see how it's going as well. Live stream interview with Phil.
Alex says sound is good.
All right, sounds good. Let me share this.
Okay, guys, so we're going to get rolling in a second here. Just putting, sounds good to me. Thank you, Morgan. Nick here is going to share a couple things. We'll get rolling in just a second here.
Should have did this sooner. But all right.
Okay, guys, so you have tuned into Rules for Rebels. We got a special guest for you guys today. This here is Nick the Smoker. Nick is a fellow Chicago YouTuber. He's been featured towards the end of last year in an article on Newsweek about kind of some of the monetization issues going on with YouTube. Towards the end of last year, you guys may have seen him on Leon Lush's video. Leon Lush made a funny parody video with him. And what's kind of unique today is, a lot of these live streams are hangouts, and Nick was nice enough to come meet up with me, and we actually get to do it face to face, which I think is really cool and kind of a different dynamic. And we've been kind of hanging out here for the past hour chatting. So Nick's an awesome guy. Glad to have him on. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So for anybody who's not familiar with Nick, Nick has a YouTube channel called Nick the Smoker, and it's a cigarette and tobacco product, nicotine product. Review channel. Review channels on YouTube are obviously huge, and he's got closing in on 90,000 subscribers here, right?
Shortly, yeah.
So closing in on 90,000 subscribers. Really interesting guy, and I think he's got probably a lot of stories and kind of knowledge to share with us, just kind of especially due to his unique niche of his channel and some challenges he's faced there. So yeah, again, thank you very much for joining us here.
Thank you for having me on, sir. I appreciate it.
Now, what you want to kind of introduce yourselves, who you are, what you're about, kind of how you got started?
Yeah, so yeah, my name is Nick the Smoker. I'm a 63-year-old tobacco company affiliate. I'm sponsored by Philip Morris. No, I'm not. I'm just a normal guy. Just sharing a hobby, a little niche on YouTube for a little over 4 years now, and something that I enjoy. Something you might think is weird is enjoying tobacco products, and you could say that, oh, it's a very deadly product, it's this and this and that. But a lot of people do find enjoyment in it. And I think there's a lot of subtleties to each and every product that's available on the market. And I hope to share that with everyone, whether you smoke or hopefully you smoke. That's usually the reason why I share my content with a lot of people. But whether you're just tuning in to watch or be a supporter, God bless each and every one of you. And that's what I do on YouTube. And yeah, I'm not really can't go more into that. Just a little summary.
Kind of an intro
stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Now, what? Let's see. Cannabis 10 times better than tobacco. Someone says. What? I guess we'll get into some of the hard hitting questions first. I had some people on Reddit. I posted on Reddit about this, and some of your fans and things had kind of commented. So the hard hitting questions. Favorite Chicago hot dog place? Somebody wanted to know.
Man. I like a place called Junior's.
You know what's funny? Yeah. I was going to ask you, because I know that's kind of out in your area. I grew up on Junior's and Don's.
Yeah,
95th and 95th and whatever that is out there. And
I believe, no?
I believe it might be.
Like that, yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, this place, Junior's Hot Dogs, first off, their hot dogs are different than anybody else. It's almost kind of like a bratwurst kind of look to it. And the way they do their cheese fries, they take a big styrofoam cup, bunch of cheese whiz, fries, mash it, cheese whiz, fries, mash it. So yeah, if you ever find yourself in Chicago, check it. They're kind of all over the south side and south side.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, it's like a more of a chain place. I've only seen, because I think I've seen two. Like I've seen the one that was in Oklahoma, wherever 95th and Richmond, wherever the hell that's at, and then you see, I think there's one out in Palos Heights too.
Yeah,
if you're out in Palos Park or
Portland.
something like that. Yeah, exactly. But a place that I always enjoyed, you know, when I was growing up, you know, somewhere that, you know, we'd go family or something like that, go there, and I really always liked it. Oh, someone would say Portillo's, you know.
Portillo's, yeah.
Portillo's is really good too.
I like them, yeah.
You know, I think people talk about Portillo's a little bit too much.
So Morgan was asking, is there a specific topping? So you got your sport peppers, tomatoes, big pickle, mustard, and cucumber salt,
and a poppy seed.
Yeah, a lot of people joke that a Chicago hot dog is more like a salad than a hot dog. You ever get Gene and Jude's?
Yes.
Once. Gene and Jude's is one of my favorites as well. Now, something I kind of argue with people on here a lot about. What is a Chicago pizza?
It's not just deep dish, you know, and that's one thing, is that you could be anywhere and people could say, oh yeah, it's all you enjoy your deep dish pizza. It's like, that's not all we're known for.
Right.
You know, there's so many places around, you know, everyone will argue what's their favorite pizza joint in the city or whatever, you know, south side, whatever side you're from. I like a place 95th or something in Oakland called Palermo's. If you ever know that place?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, I know Barstool Sports just went there recently.
You ever had Traverso's?
I have not had Traverso's.
Traverso's is pretty good. Now to me, a Chicago pizza isn't deep dish. I really don't even like deep dish.
Correct,
Mine is like the bar style, thin crust, kind of crackery crust, party cut. And for anyone, you know, normally here they don't cut their pizza in pies or triangles. It's like square cut.
Correct.
And you know, a lot of the bars on the south side and stuff like that, guys would go in after work, get a shot and a beer after work, and they throw out a pizza to keep them there longer. So to me, that's what Chicago pizza is. That's
really what it is. And everyone can argue and say what you want, but come to Chicago and come try. You could probably live here and die in your entire life before you tried every single pizza joint that's around this area. There's just so many different kinds, and people always have their different spins on it. But deep dish is something you have once a year in Chicago. You know, you go to Giordano's or something once a year. You're not going to be going to eat it every week. Right. There's people that do, but no, it's just something interesting.
You ever have Vito and Nick's?
I have.
Vito and Nick's is pretty good.
Very good, very good.
Now, let's see. So we touched on Nick a little bit. I didn't realize you had your YouTube channel as long as you did. So I know you've really grown a lot this year. But like, how long have you been doing it? It's been going on a couple years now?
Yeah, it's like, I believe it's a little over 4 years now. I think in the end of November of 2018, I had my 4-year anniversary, unbeknownst to me, because I actually had forgotten. Or maybe that's when I created my channel, was somewhere in November 4 years ago. Because I know when I created it, I wasn't doing something right away. It probably took a couple months for me to upload my first video on there. But it's, yeah, I mean, it's been going pretty good. I would say, you know, surprisingly very good. Never something I expected it to become what it is today. But
and what made you actually start your channel? Like what made you think I'm gonna upload my first video?
So it's, you know, it was something that at the time, you know, when I had started smoking when I was 18, just, you know, you try, like, you know, your Newports or stuff like that when you start smoking, or you try your Camels or your Marlboros, and you know, it was just something at the time where something clicked for me, and it was really weird because it's just like, I'm like, man, there's so many different kinds. Like, I don't know, like, what kind of a cigarette would I like? You know, because I was smoking at the time, and I still like the concept and the idea of smoking when I tried it. But it was just like, what's going to be the one that I'm going to be smoking with? Because that's what you know, everyone smokes a brand.
Right.
Everyone's sticking on a brand for their entire life. But I'm like, well, what's good enough for me? You know, and it's just something that I started trying more and more. And then my friends that smoked, you know, I'd give them a different kind of like, oh, here's a new pack every single day. And they're like, why don't you do, you know, there's some people who do something like that on YouTube. You know, why don't you try something like that? You know, you'd be new in the game and you'd probably like be very helpful with it. You know, so it's something I started, and I started off slow, and, you know, obviously I look a lot different than I did back in the day, you know, but it was something that I kept doing, something I was working on. And I'm like, well, if I'm still going to be smoking like I do every day, might as well share my opinions and share what I feel and some history on what some of the products are and their marketing and their advertising. And it's a very, you know, there's a lot of history behind cigarettes and tobacco smoking in general. And I know that it's, you know, it's not something that a lot of people want to do nowadays, but it's villainized. But I'm still going to keep doing it because it's something that I enjoy, and it's a hobby of mine, more or less. And I would say it's a little bit of a passion or a hobby, but not my only hobby, but it's something that I think that's interesting and has a lot of dynamic and character to it.
Now, here's something interesting about Nick's channel, and I encourage you guys to check him out. The link is down below in the description. But when I first stumbled upon his channel, and I don't remember how I initially found out about you, but I was thinking, like, this seems interesting, but how much is there to really say about cigarettes? And for you guys who haven't seen Leon Lush's video, I don't think I've put that in here yet. I will link to that as well. Leon Lush makes kind of parody videos, kind of poking fun at people. And he's got like 3 cigarettes in his mouth, and he's going, these things taste like burnt dicks. Like, what is there to really say about cigarettes? And if you watch his channel, he really does know the history of the packaging, the companies behind them, the ingredients. Like, he really does go into depth. And even though it may kind of seem odd on the surface, like at the end of the day, people do wine reviews and food reviews and everything else.
Craft
and it's
beer, craft beer reviews, you know. I
Um,
made this beer in my bathtub. I want to review it real quick, you know. But you know, I'm not hating on you, you know. But people do stuff like that, you know.
and reviews are like one of the kind of more popular niches on YouTube. So it's really not that surprising that there would be cigarette reviews. And I really kind of thought you were one of the only guys out there, but you said there were a couple guys out there.
Absolutely. You know, and there's just, you know, a couple of the people that I spoke to before I even had started uploading on YouTube, you know, asking for pointers and stuff like that was, you know, RJ the Smoker, Real Sig Review, but he was pretty much down at the time. You know, he wasn't doing much with that channel because he wasn't allowed to. And then there was another guy called Driver Rob. And Driver Rob actually just retired recently this year. He's probably 70 years old now, but he's still smoking. And then RJ the Smoker passed away a couple of years ago from obvious related reasons, you know, lifelong smoking and lung cancer. Can't say equivocally it's from smoking cigarettes, but it has been a contributing factor most likely. But yeah, a couple of people like that I had spoken to, and they said that I was pretty much in the whole niche, in the whole mood of the reviewing market when I had showed them my first video. And they pretty much were the ones, and especially someone who was like RJ the Smoker, you know, he's someone who gave me a lot of pointers for being the first time on YouTube. He's like, how am I going to start? And he was there, and he would, you know, we'd email regularly and we'd talk regularly, and just he was someone who showed me the way. You know, he's like, I've been doing. He was on there a lot longer than I was. I mean, he's gone now, but he's still, his channel was on there far longer than mine has at this point. And he has so much more content, so much more. He's probably smoked like 400 more cigarettes than I have. You know, he's a lot of different stuff out there.
Now, one thing that we're going to get into is, as you can imagine, even though cigarettes and tobacco are a legal product, because of kind of some of the dangers as well as kind of society, and we all know how YouTube is about really anything controversial. Nick has had some unique experiences with YouTube monetization and keeping his channel alive. So that's something that I definitely want to get into a bit in today's episode and interview here. I wanted to talk a little bit more about his channel and things like that. But one thing I noticed is obviously that it's somewhat of a controversial subject.
Absolutely.
So what is your, and I noticed I got a couple people here kind of cracking jokes about crack cocaine channels. What would you say to, I guess, kind of critics of your channel who are like, oh, it's not a healthy habit, or you're promoting this, or what's kind of your response?
Thank you for tuning in.
Well, one kind of funny thing about Nick's channel is I saw people on Reddit, and even I think you were telling me, is not everyone who even watches your channel smokes. Some people just kind of enjoy the content. And
I actually think a majority of my, at this point in my time, from where my channel currently stands, I think that a large majority, if not the largest majority of my viewers, are actually people that don't smoke. Now, do they vape or do other things? I don't know, probably, because everyone does their different things. But a lot of people say they don't smoke cigarettes. And a lot of people say that I quit smoking and I watch your videos.
right.
Some people say, you know, oh, it helps me not smoke because watching you smoke is like keeps me away from doing it or something like that. You know, I've never really heard too many people say like, oh, I quit smoking and watching your videos makes me want to light up another one. I never really hear that, you know, to be honest, because I try to engage a lot of my viewers and people as much as possible. And I think I could do a better job at it, but I think I do a great job compared to what a lot of people on YouTube are.
Right.
Because I think a lot of people don't spend any time engaging their viewers. You know, they find different ways to engage their viewers with merchandise, you know, stuff like that. Having people on Snapchat, for Christ's sake, you know, people who message me on Instagram, leave me emails, stuff like that. I know I could be better with it, you know, definitely, but I think that I do a very good job because there's a lot of interesting people that you meet. And
Oh, yeah.
there. And that's something that my channel turned into something that I just, you know, it's not something that it's just the hobby anymore. But a lot of people, I've met a lot of very interesting people. A lot of people have shared stories with me, you know, their own personal stories. And a lot of people have touched, you know, my heart. And I think people like this content and what I do so much beyond the fact that, you know, to smoke a cigarette. But some people say it's therapeutic for them in a way.
We know what's kind of cool about YouTube is I've actually met a lot of people who I've kind of become friends with in real life. I actually did an interview a couple weeks ago with a guy who actually recognized me at the gym.
Really?
And he came up to me and said, "Do you have a YouTube channel?" And we started meeting up for a beer, you know, about once a month. I got another buddy, he might be on here, Angelo, who we meet down the street at Starbucks every now and again. And even just people who are kind of more online friends, just kind of the connections that you make. And maybe you share a common interest about cigarettes. Maybe it's about something entirely different, but just kind of just meeting new and interesting people. One thing I was going to ask you, I'm a little bit shy about my my channel. I talked to these guys about it, but very few people in my real life know I have a YouTube channel. And it's kind of funny. Sometimes my girlfriend's brother or somebody will come over here, and I got, you guys can't see, but you know, I got microphones, I got cameras, I got umbrella lights, I got a big whiteboard in the back bedroom, and he'll see this stuff, and it's like, I'm sure they think I'm like a webcam boy or something like that. And I always kind of like, oh no, I'm making an instructional video for something. But very few people in my life know I do YouTube, and for whatever reason, I'm a little bit shy about it. Now, do you ever get recognized? Do your buddies know that you have a channel?
There is a lot of people I know friends wise, you know, family, I can't say much about it because I don't, you know, that's something I like to talk to my family about. You know, obviously some of them might know I have it. But friends and stuff like that absolutely know I have it.
Yeah.
I've been recognized by people for in some very different places I wouldn't expect, you know, like McDonald's, Guitar Center, stuff like that.
Right.
You know, but around here in the state, you know, and just quite different people, you know, everyone just, they're like, oh, you Nick the Smoker, this and that. Even when I was in Oklahoma, someone in my class, someone in my class recognized me, and then apparently the word spread that I was on YouTube in my whole class, and everyone was saying, oh, look at you, you know, you're YouTube, you know, you're a YouTube celebrity. I'm like, no, not really. It's just, you know, something I like doing, something I've been doing for quite a long time.
Now, do you feel weird at all? Like, I've obviously, like, you seem like a real guy, you know, we've been chatting for a while. You seem like a real guy on and off the camera. For whatever reason, like, I feel weird with people. Like, my girlfriend's watching one of my videos. I'm like, oh, turn that off, that off.
I can't watch myself.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess I could, but all the videos and stuff I do, I never rewatch them.
Right.
You know, I just shoot it and I upload it, and then I don't watch them again, like, because I don't like watching myself doing that. You know, maybe you feel the same way.
Yeah,
if you do
it's kind of
absolutely.
Awkward,
yeah, it's just like you watching yourself it's a very awkward experience, you know. And I don't edit my videos. I don't do anything like that. Yeah. So if I had to go back and edit videos and watch all this stuff again, I'd be saying, I can't do this, you know. I think there's a little magic in not editing your videos.
We know that I think is kind of cool is, and we talked a little bit about this, but YouTube kind of started out as the antithesis of TV, right? Like, you go to YouTube to see something that's less polished and more real people. And over the years, it has become a lot more corporate and a lot of people kind of putting up fronts and things like that. But yeah, we kind of talked before, and I said, like, your channel is in a sense what YouTube is all about, is just kind of micro niches and people sharing hobbies and passions and things that are kind of less polished.
And so, you know, so that be, you know, I know, like I said, a lot of people that consume tobacco products in the world. And if there's a way for me to have easier access social media wise, like on YouTube, to show people, hey, if you do smoke cigarettes, you know, there's different brands that exist throughout the world, and wherever you live, there's just so much different to try. And the whole point of my channel is to not smoke Newport 100s or Marlboro Lights the rest of your life, and to try different products out there, because there's so many different good kinds out there. And you never have to be a person who's that brand man. You know, you don't have to be stuck on that brand. You know, like someone like me, ever since I've gotten back home in September now, I've been smoking different pack cigarettes every single day.
Right.
It might be the same brand 3 days later, but the point is that I'm switching it up every day.
Right.
And because sometimes it's just boring smoking the same thing over again. You know, you get used to it, and the flavor is just like, it's like, whatever, you know, it's time to switch it up, try something completely new, you know.
Now, you know, somebody in the comments was asking about vaping, and I see you got yourself a Juul there. Is vaping, is that complementary to cigarettes? Is that something to mix it up, something you do when you're inside?
It's complementary to the indoor experience.
The indoor experience?
You know, hopefully people don't see you doing it indoors in some places, but for me, this is something like, even when I'm in my own room or something like that, you know, because I don't smoke much at my house. I actually don't smoke at home.
Okay.
All my smoking, anything that I do is outside of the house when I'm outside, when I'm out with friends, or when I'm out, you know, just doing a review or something like that, or smoke breaks on work or something like that. I don't smoke at home. This is something that I do all the time when I'm indoors, especially in my own room and stuff like that. And I'm not, you know, I'm not smoking in my house or anything like that because I don't want to, nor would I be allowed to probably until I have my own place and move out. But I think that this Juul it's a very nice thing, and it's something as well in your car. Even if you want your car to smell like cigarettes or anything like that, it's just something nice to have. You just got to get that little nicotine fix or something really quick, or just puff on something. I think it's a really nice thing to have. It really is.
Now, you know, let's talk about, because that kind of gets me into what we were chatting about a little bit earlier. So Nick wound up, he's had his channel for several years. And it was actually, if you guys want to check it out, I think I forgot to link to this, but there's a Newsweek article that references you in it.
Infamous Newsweek article.
It was on Newsweek, how YouTube censorship bots are crashing creator careers. And it talks about a lot of people, but they kind of go into Nick's issue. And this was from December 19th of this past year. And there are a lot of issues going on with YouTube right now. I saw something recently. A lot of people do these videos where they'll kind of do movie reviews based on the trailer or what they anticipate the movie being like. And in the past, this was kind of cool. Nobody really had an issue with it. More recently, Lionsgate and a lot of other movie studios have been taking these down. And what's kind of interesting is if you do a positive review of their trailer, it stays up there. If you don't have a positive view of their trailer, they take it down. But it also seems like music clips, video clips, things that used to be kind of fair use and add some kind of comedy or variety are starting to be taken down. And that's in a little bit of a different tone. You kind of ran into these issues this past December.
Unfairly, yes.
Okay.
You know, but you know, and that's the thing. You know, you see a lot of these videos, and I go back to what you were talking about with that. Is that you see a lot of videos on YouTube now where people are like doing reaction videos, reaction to some new rapper that released a song or an album or something like that, and they're sitting there and they're playing in the background and stuff like that, and they're playing it over the audio of their own video.
Right.
And to be honest with you, I don't understand why there'd be an issue with people who complain that as a content creator that why that would be getting copyrighted. But there's a lot of people out there as well who are unfairly having copyright claims, you know, being taken off their channels and stuff like that, and having their videos, having all their money going towards these companies and stuff like that now. And there's a lot of individual content creators out there that have a lot of say in this stuff. You know, they're expressing everyone's expressing this taste with YouTube and stuff like that. I really couldn't complain much with mine. I mean, it wasn't fair, you know, because they took down my stuff, but I got it back. Thank you, Mr. Leon Lush, and all of my lovely supporters who went out of their way to help me with that. I love each and every one of you. But I mean, what do you want me to like say in regards to that?
So like, what you woke up one morning and like take us through what happened. So you woke up one morning and
so I woke up at one morning. My YouTube channel was completely fine the day before. Woke up and I had four community guideline strikes on my channel in a matter of 3 minutes. I had gotten emails, and I woke up I had so many different messages from viewers and stuff like that on my phone. I turned on my phone and it was just blasted with people. They're like, "Where's your channel? You're banned. What's going on?" And yeah, it happened. And YouTube ended up cracking me on some guideline thing, very unfairly, because it was the same portion of the guideline that they cracked me on, about 8 videos or something like that. And the very bad thing about this is that YouTube's been doing this a lot lately, and there's been a lot of content creators, Monkey Jones and stuff like that was another and he was another one who, like, it just kind of obliterated you. YouTube just obliterates you off the face of their platform without any say or anything. They just like, boom, you're gone. You know, we're not going to give you a chance to correct anything that you're doing, especially if you're just, in my case, you violated one little community guideline subpart. You know, we're just going to obliterate you off the face of the planet, and to get in contact with them and to try and appeal this with them, it's frustrating. It's because this is a platform that has so many different content creators, so many, billions of videos probably, you know, an incredible amount of content, and they don't have enough people to police this. And a lot of their channel has a lot of robotic algorithms and robots doing a lot of the work for them. And these robots sometimes do too much work, and it makes the whole back end process of getting it reversed an incredibly difficult issue.
Well, we know it's funny, and I think it kind of starts to affect the creativity and the type of content on YouTube, because normally I would monetize my content, and because Nick the Smoker is in the title, just the word smoke, you know, it's not really taken into context that this is an interview or whatever. Or even if we were to do a video where we raced outside and watch me smoke Nick in a race, something as trivial as that word could trigger the video.
And that's something that, you know, and that's something to do with, you know, people who smoke weed on YouTube, you know, weed smoking or bong smoking, you know, whatever like that. You know, it's something that's very subjective. And there's these, I'm sure that there's these words that are flagged on their algorithm that it's something that, oh, if this might be something that's potentially in conflict with our advertisers or advertiser friendly material, is something that gets flagged right off the bat. Right. And this is something that, you know, YouTube's team, I'm sure they review this, you know, I'm sure they sit down at their tables and their conference tables at once a week and they talk about stuff like this, because there's been a lot of public outlash at YouTube recently about what they're doing. You know, as you know, something like the YouTube Rewind of 2018 is now the most disliked video on YouTube, and it's from YouTube on their own platform. I know.
You know what's funny? Did you watch that?
I did.
Well,
it's terrible.
I agree, it's terrible. Here's what I found funny is, and I would have thought that in previous years it would have been more about your average creator. But there was so much outrage over it, and I didn't even know that the Rewind existed until I saw all these memes and posts about it. So I went and watched it, and I was like, yeah, that is kind of a corporate music video. But I went back and watched 2017, 2016, and really the past 3-4 years has been, in my opinion, like the exact same. It's really not until you get back to 2013 do you kind of see some of the less polished creators and some of the less corporate.
Roots,
so yeah,
the roots is what you see.
Yeah,
the roots of the people who made their content so loved by people all around the world and have gotten YouTube all the exposure, and YouTube, it's money and it's, you know, advertisers and stuff like that. These people, these content creators are the people that have brought so many viewers to their platform. And sometimes, you know, I understand that, you know, nowadays, you know, it's political correctness and all this stuff. It's very, you got to tiptoe around to just make sure you don't offend someone about something, you know. You know, you don't want to call someone sir or madam anymore because you might offend them. You know, you assume my gender kind of
right
shit going on. And it's very difficult. And I think that it's just a little bit too much, because you have to realize, especially someone like me, you know, said like a niche little content creator, you know, what am I doing to affect people? Because, you know, I don't go out of my way to talk about politics. My videos are about tobacco reviews. I don't go out of my way to really just, even when I do my little casual live streams and stuff like that, I don't like talking much about it because I worry that is someone going to be offended? Is someone going to do this?
See, I was watching one of your live streams and I actually heard you say, you know, I don't talk about politics or try to stay away from controversial issues, period, because who knows?
Because there's been people in the past who've done it on YouTube, and they've had some weird people come for them.
Right.
Whether it was YouTube's own team or someone else. Yeah, it just seems like a lot of issues. And me as a content creator, my content has always been reviewing tobacco products, and it's something that I don't want to stray too far away from. You know, I like having my little casual live streams and stuff on the side, talking with fans, answering questions, Q&As and stuff like that. But there's some things, and I still have to be subjective with that, because, you know, some people ask very questions that could be taken controversially, you know, and that's the last thing now in this day and age, where people are going to be blasting you and you're going to have to be defending yourself for a month straight and having your name completely smeared by people who don't even know who you are as a person. You know, it's very, and that's another thing with social media too, I think, is it's very, again, people are very harsh. People criticize over the keyboard, you know, over the keyboard mouse a lot, or over the phone nowadays. And they just think it's so easy to, like, oh, if I disagree with you, whatever, fuck you, I'm just going to completely disagree with you, and I'm just going to bash on you because of it, because it's so easy to do it. It's so, oh, I don't have to even be in person, face to face with this person. I can just do it right behind my screen. Yeah, that's kind of a funny thing too, is even beyond like keyboard warriors and stuff like that, even just in terms of like decency, most people would never say to somebody's face half the stuff that they type out, but it's so either disconnected or impersonal that, yeah, people say some crazy stuff. And I can, and me being on YouTube, like, I know that there's people in the world who are non-desirable people. You know, there's people who are very ignorant, very mean. But it wasn't until I was on YouTube till I realized, like, man, there are some people who really have no filter. There's some people, and, you know, and unfortunately, you know, there's people, I've never seen people actually wish cancer upon people before. You know, I've heard stupid stuff like that before, people, you know, insult someone like that way, but very unprovoked, very unprompted, and people feel the need to post stuff like that. You know, the haters and stuff like that. There's always haters with everything. But some of the stuff, you know, and someone even went as far, and I commented on it once. I said, this is the only time I'm going to comment it, because somebody said that the videos that I do, I need to be removed off YouTube. I need to be banned. I can't, because I'm influencing a generation. I'm influencing young people to smoke. and I am contributing to the future deaths of these people. And at the same time, I'm like, well, go fuck yourself, because that's not the point of my channel.
Right.
You know, I'm not telling these people to go to the store and literally start smoking and buy a pack of cigarettes and risk having health related issues later on in their life and stuff like that. I'm not doing that. I'm not contributing that. I'm not here to get people hooked on cigarettes or vape products or anything, or tobacco. I'm not here to do that. My channel has always been, hey, if you are a smoker, this is something possibly, if you want to keep being an adult smoker and you're a responsible person, try it. You know, maybe try this different product, you know, because this is my view on it. You know, this is my opinion. You might have a different opinion on it, but in most cases, a lot of people have told me that, you know, hey, I'm a smoker and I tried this new product you reviewed, and I actually liked it. You know, I liked it better than what I was smoking. You know,
it's funny. I think everybody has vices, and people like to be very selective about what vices are acceptable and what vices aren't. And I noticed I've seen a couple comments where people are saying, like, look, it's people have a choice to do whatever they want. You don't like his stuff, don't watch it. You don't want to smoke, don't do that. But I'm sure some of the people who hate on you for your channel are drinking or smoking weed or eating fatty foods. And, you know, who's to say your vice or anyone else's vice is better or worse than the next person's?
Correct. Or, you know, it could be people at, you know, electric force shoving ketamine up their ass. You know, and they're like, oh, it's because it's electric force. You know, I love ketamine. I'm like, well, you know, like, I don't do that, but, you know, more power to you. You know, I don't. And again, vices, you know, I don't judge people. I don't hate on people for what they do, because everyone is their own individual person. Whatever you want to do with your life is something, you know, I'm not saying it's okay to do heroin or something like that, but there's people who do different things. You know, there's people who smoke weed, you know, all this stuff like that. I don't care, because it's what you want to do with your life. You know? Just like this is something that I do in my life. You know, I would appreciate it if you respect that, you know, because I don't think I'm affecting your life in any way, shape, or form. I actually had, you know, I've actually had people that are so ignorant. You know, we live in the United States. We're currently broadcasting live from Illinois, and in the United States of America. I've had people so far as to go and say that, oh, you shouldn't, what is it, the National Health Service or whatever in the UK. I've had people comment saying, like, as long as you're not being a burden on our NHS taxpayers. I'm like, I don't live in the UK.
Right.
but there's people out there that are just like, so like, whoa, like they don't know what's going on. You know, and again, that's the thing where it's just like, it's so easy to just leave a stupid comment, an ignorant comment about something and not even think twice about it. And they leave it. And it doesn't matter how many people comment back and them to correct them. There's still, you know, some of them will argue back. And I can't, you know, and you're completely wrong.
Right.
You know, these people are completely wrong, and they still are just stubborn like that, you know.
You know, it's funny. That was kind of the next thing. We kind of got into trolls and haters, and that was kind of one of the next things I was going to ask you about, just because I would anticipate with it being a controversial subject matter, you might get, I mean, YouTube as a whole can be that like that, but especially with your niche and things like that. What do you find is your audience overwhelmingly positive? Do you get a lot of hate? Does your audience kind of rally to your defense? What's kind of like the comment section in a typical video like?
I mean, if you want to get a good laugh out of, if you want to have some good laughs for the day, definitely watch my videos and look at the comment section. There's a lot of funny stuff in there. There really is, whether it's haters or a lot of my fans and stuff like that. But I find that the videos that I have automatically recommended by YouTube's algorithm, which are some of my more very popular videos, those are the ones where you get a lot of people who hate on you, you know, because they're like, I don't want to be seeing this. Like, I was watching a video on how to repair my air conditioning unit in my house, and I got a recommendation for Nick the Smoker at midnight. I'm not a smoker. And then people say like, oh, I've had family die from this, like, this is a terrible habit, you know. It happens, but you just deal with it, you know. And I try not to respond to haters that much. I mean, like, you can't respond to haters, especially if whatever content creator or whatever you do, you really can't respond to it, because all you're doing is feeding them. You know, because they want to get it, they want to get attention. You know, and I try to engage all of my lovely supporters as much as I can as possible, and I'd love to engage them, to talk to them. But the people who are saying stupid shit, you know, I don't want to really involve myself too much. You know, there's some people from time to time where I might call them out, you know, because again, my supporters will rally to my defense because they're all amazing people, you know, because they love my videos, love my content, they love who I am, and that's the reason I pretty much keep making videos, because there's so many good supporters I have, and I'm so blessed to have it.
You know what I thought was funny about Leon Lush's video is Leon Lush, I forget what he calls his channel, but normally he's like shitting on really douchey people.
Correct.
And with yours, it was funny, but he said this dude seems like a really kind of nice, down to earth, grounded, respectable kind of guy. Like, I really have nothing bad to say about him outside of, like, it's a little bit of a controversial subject matter. And I even saw I was trying to do a little bit of research on you before we sat down, and just the dozens of Reddit threads when your channel was taken down. Everybody, what happened to Nick the Smoker? Bring Nick the Smoker back. So people really kind of came to your defense and got
and a couple
you back
YouTube videos
online.
Well yeah. And they really did, and that's why I love everyone, because I told everyone, like, the way you can help me during this time is to spread awareness about it, and more importantly, pay attention to what's happening to all the other YouTubers who are faced in the same situation as I am, because you guys are the supporters. You know, you want to watch this little niche channel like mine, and you want to support me and watch me grow and help me grow and support me the entire way. God bless all of you. But it's very unfair when they just kind of remove that ability for you one day to do that.
Right.
And these are people who possibly have become part of their own personal viewing rotation every single day of the week. It's for, you know, I there's people who tell me I watch your, sometimes people tell me I watch like all your videos. I rewatch your videos like 5 times. You know, and I have over 240 videos on my channel. I'm like, that's a lot of time. So, but there's people who enjoy the content that much, and that's what's so I'm so happy to have that. Even when that YouTube purge happened,
right?
You remember, I don't know if you were affected by the subscriber count that
you
much.
know, are you talking about when I said your subscriber counts may fall?
Right.
And you know what? I was kind of these guys know I'm kind of on this quest. I know it's kind of dumb, but I'm on this quest to get that silver play button, just because YouTube's kind of outside of the realm of something I would normally do. So that's kind of a big achievement for me for whatever reason. And when I saw that happening, I'm closing in on 100,000. It's gotten a little bit slow, but I'm like, I might get, you know, I might have 2, 3, 5,000 bot accounts kind of helping my numbers. And surprisingly, I didn't really get hit too hard. How about yourself?
I was only, so when I got banned, I think it was about 83,000 or 84,000 subscribers. It was a little over 83,000. And when I got back unbanned on YouTube and I actually looked at my count, I only lost like 200 subscribers.
Okay, yeah.
But that just goes to show you is that you look at all these bigger YouTube channels that got, like, when you're looking at the PewDiePie tier series.
Did they get hit hard?
Huh?
Did the bigger ones get hit really hard?
Yeah, got hit by that. If I'm not mistaken, they lost almost 300,000 subscribers. Ooh. But having how many, 70, 80 million subscribers, really, of course, it could be a larger number. But me as a content creator with 83,000, that's pure 83,000
real people. Yeah,
real people. I subtracted 200 of it that were robot accounts or whatever spam accounts that YouTube said they were. But that goes to show you that means a lot, and especially when you're becoming a little bit bigger like that on YouTube. When you see that, like, that's a raw number right there. Like, you only lost 200 people from that purge, and people were complaining about that. There were people complaining about, oh, YouTube was doing this because they thought YouTube was doing it literally just because of the PewDiePie T-Series, this whole back and forth of who can be the most subscribed to person. And I think that was maybe a factor of why you decided, hey, we're going to start doing this purge just to get rid of all these bot accounts.
Did you run any problems? I know for a long time people have been talking about if somebody's not active on your channel all the time, YouTube will remove them, or people not getting notifications. So I know for like a couple months now, and maybe even the past year, people have talked about similar things going on, but then YouTube actually announced it on our dashboards here a while back. Have you noticed anything like that, or do you have any subscribers claiming they're not being notified of your? The only
thing that I never had an issue with that. The only thing that I had was when I got banned. You know, you have to understand, once you're obliterated off the face of YouTube and Google search engine, because they're both, you know, obviously YouTube owns Google.
Right.
Sorry, correction. Google owns YouTube, and you're lost off the search engines, everything. Your videos aren't being recommended because they're not on YouTube anymore. So the only thing I had as a result of that was that when I uploaded my first video when I got unbanned from YouTube, my thank you video, to everyone, it was very surprised, because I'm like, where is everyone? Because it wasn't being, like, apparently some people were telling me, hey, I'm subscribed to you, and I didn't see that come up in my feed. But that has something to do with YouTube, redistributing, getting all your content back into their system and stuff like that, and everything's got to come around again. It's like a full circle. Everything's got to come back. The power's got to come back on. We have to, your videos and everything has to start getting indexed again by our search engine and stuff like that. The algorithm has to pick your stuff up again, wherever everyone wants to start recommending it and doing this and that. So I understand that for the week, and it was about a week or two that I was having a little issues like that, and I was very surprised, because I'm like, but some people complain that that's been happening to them on a regular basis, where their stuff is not being shown as to their subscribers and stuff like that.
Now, have you looked into, like, I noticed a lot of people are starting to do like text message notifications, or just other things to kind of get past, just in case YouTube doesn't show my stuff. I know there's people out there who want to see it. Have you looked into doing anything like that at all?
Not really.
Yeah.
The only thing I really do is that whenever I upload YouTube videos, I've been sharing, it on my Instagram and stuff like that. My Instagram has almost 5,000 followers on it. obviously a lot shorter than 80. I mean, but you being on social media and stuff like that yourself, you know that the disparity between having your main content platform and social media, you know, there's obviously a disparity with how many people are going to follow in or spill over into the other section of it. So, but you know, in Instagram, you know, I understand a lot of my younger viewers use that because we're going to be 40, 50-year-olds really using Instagram and stuff like that much. You know, Snapchat, sometimes I have people add me on my own Snapchat sometimes, stuff like that. That's probably like a little over 1,000 people. But again, who's all, you know.
And what all, I suppose since I got you on, I have a cigarette here. What social media platforms are you using?
Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. That's really it. I made a Twitter account, but I haven't done anything with it yet. Some people have already found it because I've seen, but I have to find a way to kind of get it into my regular routine, if you will, because it's a lot of managing. You know, when you have all these different social media accounts, and you know, I'm sure that you know you're your own content creator and you're the only one who's the sole beneficiary and the one running your channel. Sometimes it gets difficult managing all this stuff in the day, especially because you know you have your own personal life, you have your own things going on, your own work and stuff like that outside of what you do on YouTube. And people have to realize that it's not a full-time job, you know. And for me, my YouTube is it's a hobby, it's not a job, because if it was my job, shit would be fucking 400% better than what it was. I'd be much more engaged. I'd be doing much more stuff on social media and stuff like that. But there's only so much I can do in the current state of mind. Like, I got to work later after this, you know.
No, I know you and I talked about. That's one thing I was curious about. Is I was asking Nick. I said, do you have any aspirations of making this like a full-time thing, or trying to make it like a substantial portion of your income? And you said it's for you, it's more of a hobby than anything else, right?
Correct.
Do you think somebody in your space could go full-time with it, or with all the rules and regulations about tobacco advertising and such, would that not even be possible?
I don't think it'd be possible.
Now, me and Nick were talking a little bit earlier, and if he wants to share a little bit about kind of the reason that his channel was taken down, we can get into that. But I had noticed, you know, I know a lot of you guys are affiliate marketers or into digital marketing, and I had mentioned you Jewel, which I know you got your Jewel pen over there. Mm-hmm. They have an affiliate program that pays 25%. And I noticed it was wide open. I'm like, nobody is tapping into this. And I never knew this, but after talking to you, it turns out most social networks don't want you linking. I mean, it's okay to make videos and reviews and content, but you can't really use it to promote products.
More or less. And that's something I got cracked on YouTube about, because, you know, YouTube uploaded their terms, their guidelines, and said that if you link to nicotine products in your videos or any of your content on YouTube, it's subject to community guidelines violations. And that was something that they updated and put in more recently. It wasn't something that's always been on there,
right? But
they put it under harmful and dangerous content. And it doesn't matter if you're an adult; they don't want it on there, you know.
Now, do you have to age restrict your videos?
No.
No. Okay.
If it's something that I had to do in the future, I guess I would have to do it.
Right.
I've only had one video age restricted, and that was because people reported it and said that this is like whatever content, whatever wrong with it, why they report it. But it was more or less, that's the YouTube bot. Enough people report it and they realize it needs to be age restricted, flagged and age restricted by itself. But when I filed a manual appeal on it, that's what happens. I say, oh, this doesn't have to be age restricted. And every single time, just like when I was getting demonetized. And I'm pretty sure when they have to review, when you appeal that, those people real people have to look at that.
Right.
It's the robot does it automatically, but people have to review your appeal. So what is my, you know, what is the issue? What am I doing wrong? You know?
Now, you know, that kind of brings me to another frustrating thing about your videos. And I notice a lot of people on my channel are either creators themselves or looking to get into it. And one frustrating thing is with these bots, on the back end of your YouTube dashboard, you have the red, yellow, and green monetization icons. So pretty much all your content is going to be initially flagged, which means until you get 1,000 views, it's not even eligible to be looked at by a human.
Like that, yep.
Now, are you going to continue monetizing your stuff going forward, or are you just going to write that off? Or
absolutely. Sorry, I got to start my pipe up a little bit. So this tobacco's a little bit rough. It's still a bit too moist. I don't ask any of my viewers for donations or anything like that. I don't sell merchandise or anything right now. But because from what I understand, you know, from the little money that I make from YouTube, that's something that if I got to go buy a pack of cigarettes for review, it covers it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying is that the more people view and like and support my videos, you know, there should be excess of me going out to buy new products to review for my channel, for my content.
Right.
I don't go out of my way to ask people, oh, can you donate to me so I can buy cigarettes?
Right.
I think it's silly, you know, but because YouTube is already paying me for it.
Right.
And I just tell everyone, and I'm very thankful for everyone supporting my channel like that. And just keep viewing, liking, subscribing, and I'll keep providing you guys the content, you know.
Now, do you have any plans to set up like your own website or outside of YouTube, or kind of a home base for people to chat, or a forum or anything like that? Or
not really. I think that with all the social media that exists today, it's like having a Facebook website. You know, a lot of companies, a lot of businesses just use Facebook now for a Facebook business page to advertise their business because everyone's on Facebook. You know, websites, I'm not saying they're becoming obsolete. But for me, what am I really going to do with a website? In my own personal opinion, it's like, what am I going to do?
Right. Now, have you, a lot of people who watch my channel got really into crypto last year, and I was pretty big into crypto. Have you looked into any of these like decentralized social media platforms, whether it be like a Steam? Are you familiar with like Steemit or Smoke.io or Bit.tube or anything like that at all?
I heard like BitChute or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like a BTube or DTube or something.
Or DTube,
like that.
yeah. You ever played around with those at all? Mm-hmm. No.
A lot of people tell me when I was banned that I should start looking into that stuff.
You know, I think before we connected, I think I had shot you a message and said you should check out. And they within themselves are not great platforms. Like, there's not a whole lot of reach. DTube's a little bit glitchy. But the one nice thing is because there's really no central authority, nobody's going to take your stuff down.
Correct.
So what's kind of nice is you can kind of have a catalog there. And if YouTube or any other social media network gives you any trouble, at least you have this one place that at the very least will just catalog all your stuff for you, so you can download it and re-upload it. Correct. Or at least so it remains online. And Steemit's really kind of gone downhill. I noticed the new kind of hot one is Bit.tube. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that'll take off, but you're starting to get a lot of these guys who are leaving Patreon because of Patreon's kind of recent
especially when Patreon's one of their top people, their top first people were supported on there by donations and stuff like that left, and he kind of is the catalyst for that.
Sargon of Akkad. Yeah, him, and then Jordan Peterson and Dave Rubin, and I've heard that they're working on kind of starting their own version of that. I
don't even know. You remember Milo Yiannopoulos?
Yeah.
Controversial.
Okay, yeah.
Controversial conservative. He was on there for a while, and he got kicked off pretty much all social media platform because of his politics and stuff. I think it's mostly because of his politics. Well, he was having an issue with these donation things like Patreon. You know, they would suspend his account. He appealed, and then they told him, okay, well, all right, you're not against our terms of service, so we're going to reinstate your account back. But now they're facing issues of trying to get the money out. You know, you hear people who now are relying on stuff like that for their income and stuff like that, and they have donators. It's donor money that's supposed to be going to them. It's supporters, people supporting them, and they're just kind of withholding it from them. And I think it's very unfair, you know.
We know what's kind of crazy that's happening now is not only do you have Patreon in some cases stepping in and cracking down on people, and for anyone who doesn't know, Patreon is kind of like a third-party website outside of YouTube, so that if you don't want to deal with the fluctuations of YouTube monetization, or if your content doesn't really lend itself to being monetized on YouTube, that's one place where, you know, your viewers and people can support you. And that's always been kind of a safe haven, and they've started going after a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And I guess not only is it them, but even Visa and MasterCard now are starting to put pressure on Patreon you need to remove this guy. And I noticed Sargon of Akkad went to a new platform called Subscribestar. Mm-hmm. And within days of him going to Subscribestar, Visa and MasterCard and PayPal pulled support of Subscribestar. So you have this whole network taken down by the payment processors.
And these payment processors, there's only so many that exist.
There's
only so many big names for it. And that's when it comes down to that you can't even have something like PayPal supporting your content. And even though, and your content might be controversial, it's nature, but is it really? Are words really that bad? Well, some people say that words are bad. You know, words have started wars and stuff like that. But I think it's very silly. And again, it has to go with some of the culture which is going on nowadays, you know.
We know what's kind of scary is even if somebody doesn't like smoking or doesn't like conservative viewpoints, at some point they're going to come after something that you like or something that you're involved in. And do you really want this precedent set where nobody can say anything and everything's very kind of cookie cutter and in line? And that's one of the reasons that I always kind of thought crypto was kind of cool. Is we talked a little bit before, and I kind of come from a business area that's considered high risk, and it's really challenging to get processing. And like you said, if Visa and MasterCard don't want to mess with you, you pretty much can't take payments.
You're shit out of luck.
So that was one of the things that was really attractive to me, is here everyone has a bank in their pocket, and you know, it kind of takes some of the control away. But ultimately, at the end of the day, not enough people use it to make it really a viable viable alternative.
Correct, and that's the issue with it, because how are you going to get everyone from who's already been using Patreon? How are you going to get them to just kill over and start using this new service? It's very difficult, because once these services like that, they go viral like that, they just have this tremendous success. It's very hard at stirring people to get to a different platform like that. And when you have people like Jordan Peterson that decide that they're going to leave Patreon and start their own thing, now you have to start thinking, these are some people who are some of the top people who are being donated to on Patreon, and they're leaving because they don't feel comfortable anymore being on the platform. They don't feel welcome anymore.
It's crazy. A lot of them are walking away from $150,000 or more a year in donations, and they're just kind of to support the other creators, I guess in part to support them, as well as, maybe next week the rug gets pulled out from under me, so I'm going to go.
And I think it's
to try to find something else.
I think it's a very selfless thing to do, because people who do something like that, at that point, it's like, I am risking losing all of my support, all my income from this top thing like Patreon, just because I want to keep creating content and make sure that the content that I'm creating is stuff that I want to keep creating, and people that my viewers and stuff like that want to keep watching. And I'm sure they'll follow me to a different one because they want to keep seeing me, but I don't want to feel censored, not welcome on a platform to which I've already been on. And it just seems like it's just becoming more and more subjective every single day with what I can do and what I can't do on there.
Well, it's tough. I think it hurts the content that people watch, because I notice even some of the bigger creators, they're scared to use audio clips. They're scared to use video clips. And some people do take the fair use thing kind of overboard. But it's getting to the point where people are really having to watch what they're doing and what they're posting. And I think it affects kind of the quality of the content, as well as kind of their openness and things like that. Absolutely. As well. So yeah, it's a shame. I was gonna ask you, so what is the end goal? I know you said it's kind of a hobby. Is there any end goal to this? Do you want to be an influencer? Would you start any other channels?
I mean, something that I thought of doing maybe when I got to around 100,000 subscribers was maybe branching off and having a vlogging channel, or a casual, a more casual channel. Well, it's not so much the review part, but a lot of people like they say they like hearing my voice, and like saying, watching me talk about different things and stuff like that. So it's something that I'm exploring. It was something that I was even exploring during my ban on YouTube, but I wanted to see first. I'm like, okay, am I just not allowed to do this stuff on YouTube anymore? Is that what it's come down to? Right. I wanted to see if I was welcome to do, to keep doing what I was doing. And apparently I'm still welcome to keep doing what I'm doing. So I'm going to keep doing it. And in the future, depending on how I keep going, maybe I'll branch off and start something like a vlogging channel or something like that. Something more casual, something not so, intertwined to what my regular content is.
It's kind of funny, and that's kind of one of the fun things about having you on, is even though even though we're kind of talking a lot about YouTube, sometimes you kind of feel locked into, I have to do this kind of content. And as you kind of start connecting with people, you kind of exploring new interests and things like that. And it is kind of nice to be able to kind of shoot off and talk about more other areas of interest, and you kind of start making connections with people, and they're curious about your life. And
like something else I like is music, and I like sharing, and on YouTube, you have your community tab where you can post stuff on there, like updates and stuff for your channel and stuff like that. But I use mine, post different music on there.
I've seen you promoting a lot of kind of Chicago bands and different music.
Correct. And it's something that, and I like music, and a lot of my people might not like the music I listen to, but a lot of people do. They like the recommendation I give, because there's a lot of music out there, and it's something that I use my channel to. It's just like, hey, if you want to listen to a new song today you haven't heard, here's one to listen to. If you like it or don't like it, whatever. But it's something I do,
I was going to ask you about that, because I noticed your community section is a lot of music. What kind of music are you into?
I like rock, I like metal music. Kind of like, I'm not a huge rap guy. It's something that I kind of get into, but especially with a lot of the rap nowadays, it's not necessarily the best.
Right.
And there's just a lot of controversy in that rap game and stuff like that, especially nowadays. But I like it. And I don't think it's a bad thing, but I love introduce people to music, especially stuff I listen to, because the stuff I listen to is a little bit more obscure.
Right.
I listen to bands that people may have never heard because they're not signed to a record label, because they're just like on Bandcamp. There's a lot of great music on Bandcamp, by the way, if you ever heard of Bandcamp.
There's a cool channel I started watching. I forget what it's called. It's I think it's down in Austin, Texas, but they basically have this big room full of vinyl records all over. And I think every day or every couple of days they'll invite someone new into the studio to do a couple songs.
I think it's a great thing.
And it's a lot of kind of indie type stuff. And I don't like all of it, but I've discovered a lot of kind of my favorite bands just through them inviting different people on.
And I think one of the greatest things too about having all this social media stuff nowadays is that these bands that originally, you know, back in the 70s, you know, you could have been the top. You could have been a Black Sabbath back in the 70s, but you never got that record deal and nobody ever found out about you, kind of a deal. But nowadays, there's just so much ways that bands can put themselves out there and still be supported, you know, still sell their albums on things like Bandcamp, stuff like that. Be on YouTube, have little audio people or people who look at local bands, stuff like that, post them performing a song or something like that. And there's a lot of really good talent out there. And that's what I found out, especially with some of the music I listen to, which consider that to be in like the stoner rock or stoner metal kind of a genre, if you will. And there's just so much, I think there's just so much good talent out there and there's just not enough people seeing it. And that's something that I like to do is like on the side, I'm like, hey, I'm listening to this. I'm going to share this, you know.
Are you into like festivals and like jam band type stuff at all, or
not really? I've only been in one concert in my life.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I think it was Allison Chains back in 2008 or 2009 when they had just gotten back together and with their new singer and they were just releasing an album because it was since 1995. No, it was I think. Yeah, it was 1996. Have you heard of Allison Chains?
Yeah.
It was in 1996. They did their MTV Unplugged with Lane, and that was like one of their last shows, really, with Lane. And then they kind of went into a hiatus, and then Lane passed away in the early 2000s. And then they were still on a hiatus for a long time, and they came back in 2008 with a new album and a new singer, and they're still going. And then God bless, because it's a band with a lot of talent, and it's always the fine line. It's like, well, we lost our front man,
right?
Whether he left or passed away or something like that. It's like, how are we going to come back? You know, and a lot of bands don't feel comfortable if they lose a member of their band, they break up because they're like, there's no way we can replace them,
right?
Because we had this musicality together, and just to have someone else in there, it's like, how are we going to flow the same way we did? And a lot of them don't even want to waste that, you know.
They used to be big into Sublime, and when they came back as Long Beach Dub All Stars, they had a song or two I liked, but yeah, it's just not quite the same after that. Yeah,
I mean, you can't, like, it's just, you really can't. You know, and they bring that certain dynamic to the music that you guys created and what you guys got so popular off of so many people. And it's like, how are we going to throw someone else in their position?
Right.
It's a very difficult thing. And I think that a lot of really incredible musicians and bands out there, there's a lot of them waiting to be heard, you know.
Now, do you play guitar or anything like that yourself at all?
I do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm not really a serious
player.
You know,
I saw you actually got some videos of you playing.
Yeah, a couple of my live streams I've done it. It's again, it's a little hobby of mine. You know, when I was 12, I took lessons for about a year, and I was really busy because, you know, I used to actually be like a man who played soccer back in the day, if you can believe that. But with school and all that stuff going on, it was hard for me to do the lessons and stuff like that and to find time to practice. So I had pretty much put it on the shelf until I was about 15, and then I decided I want to start playing again. So I, you know, on my 15th birthday, I bought an acoustic guitar and I started playing again. And now, you know, I think I have like 8 guitars, some incredible amount. Yeah, it's not, got to get rid of some of them. Chicago Music Exchange downtown, by the way, is an incredible store. That's where I bought my most recent purchase, which you've probably seen in some of my videos, and that's 1972 Yield F50.
Okay.
I went down there, and I had never really bought a vintage guitar or even played one. And I went down there one Saturday to just play it. And one of my friends, Carl Kamen, works there in the acoustic room down there, and he was showing me a bunch of these guitars, stuff like that. And I sat down with this guild, and I'm like, man, like there's some kind of a feeling you have with a guitar when you pick it up. Because you could sit there and go to Guitar Center and play every single guitar there. I guarantee there's only gonna be a certain select few that you actually have the feel for that you like. And that guitar, like when I played it and sat down, I was like, man, this is good. And I'm like, price tag, I looked at it, I'm like, you know, it's not too far-fetched. But then the next morning I woke up on Sunday and said, I'm going back to buy it.
Right.
Because I didn't want it to get away. And I still have it today. And it's something that I really enjoy it. And it's something that it's probably one of my first serious, like, actual guitar purchases in terms of price and quality and stuff like that. But the vintage ones, they really don't build like they do nowadays, you know. And that's what a lot of people say play guitar. The vintage stuff is actually really good. Most of it is.
You know, it's funny. I took guitar lessons as a kid, and over the years, you know, I dropped it. I'll go buy a guitar at a pawn shop or off of eBay or something like that. Mess around with it for a couple months, decide that I suck, throw it in the closet, pawn it or sell it on eBay 6 months later. About a year later, I'll get an itch to play again, go buy another one, and I kind of go through this cycle. So I have a ukulele in the closet up there, but I've kind of fallen out of music.
It's something, you know, it's something that, and you know, it's something that I've ever since I got back in September, it's something I fell off with personally because, you know, I was so busy trying to figure out what am I going to do with myself, what am I going to do in my life. and I've never really had that. I just for quite a while, and even I'm still recovering today. Like I think I just sat down yesterday and played it for the first time in like 2 weeks again. You know, and yeah, I used to be playing it at least once a day. You know,
Right.
even if it was for an hour or so a day, I was doing that. And especially when I was in Oklahoma during the summer, that was one of the ways that I had to unwind. That's the way I had to relax. It was actually something to me where at that point it's like, wow, like a cigarette's not going to help me unwind, but me sitting here playing guitar for an hour or so is something that helps me unwind. And now it's, you know, if you don't play and you don't practice, you're going to start getting rusty again, you know.
I think you got to get past the learning curve to where it actually gets fun. Because like when I see people that I know sitting around playing the guitar, it seems very kind of soothing and relaxing and fun. And when you're practicing and you're having to really focus on what you're doing, I think you can't really just kind of lose yourself and enjoy it. You're kind of,
and at that point, you know, you're probably not trying to become a professional musician,
right.
Someone who masters an instrument, because I'm not doing that either.
Right.
But you learn and do different stuff, and you noodle around, you practice around. You're like, oh, that sounds good. That sounds, you know, and it's just, you know, it's just something with, you know, because I'm not a technical player, and I'm sure, I don't know if you are.
No,
not shredding or any BS like that. You know, I'm not hating on shredders or anything like that, but you know, guitar is an instrument for melodies. That's what I think. You know, you can make some beautiful melodies on it, and that's what I play it for. And a lot of music that I've listened to or grew up listening to, it's influenced my style of playing and stuff like that. And yeah, it's something nice to have. It's something nice to be able to just sit down and noodle around on an instrument once in a while. You know,
is that an area of YouTube you'd ever consider going into, or?
Unless they're going to copyright.
Right.
Well, apparently they do copyright covers now.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. So I see some people doing covers. I see them getting huge views, but at the same time, I always just kind of assumed that that's something that they would either take down or that they'd give monetization to the.
And I've been hearing that a lot, is that apparently people, even if people don't have the actual song playing in the background, they could have a backing track that they download off the internet or something like that someone else made,
right,
MIDI or something like that, and they could have it in the background playing. And apparently there's still music companies that are flagging this for copyright,
right?
And that's like, shit, you can't even like do covers of music anymore on YouTube, like, because the copyright's like, well, hold on a second, all the money's going to us because it's a copy of one of our songs on our label. You know, and I think it's very silly.
YouTube's so advanced now that they have all this automated stuff that even the slightest bit of anything that I guess goes against a music collection or movie collection, it can. I actually just got it rolled out to me. Like if anything even remotely resembles my stuff, they'll give me this notification, and I can choose to either allow it to remain, take it down, take the monetization. Yep. So yeah, they've gotten really advanced with that stuff.
And I'll tell you one thing too about this copyright stuff. So all these big companies and stuff like that obviously have so many ties and so many intertwines in YouTube's copyright system and how it works, because they've helped them build it and stuff like that, and they've helped populate their database for it. And it's incredible because, you know, when I was banned from YouTube, you know, there were several people who I didn't even know at the time who had been re-uploading my videos completely video for video, just and saying that it was them.
Right.
And I was like, this is interesting, you know. So that was one of the first things I had to do when I got back to YouTube, was actually file my first copyright claims against certain people and say that, like, because these people legit, they just download my video and just re-upload it on YouTube. And I'm like, well, hold on a second, you know, it's like, you didn't ask me.
Right.
You just did it without. So like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to see how this process works. And it actually took YouTube about 2 or 2.5 weeks to actually make a decision on each of those claims.
They really see on mine. They're pretty good. I noticed if I file one of those, normally within an hour or two, I'll get an email, and it's been taken down.
That's good, because that's how it should be, you know. But for me, it took 2.5 weeks.
You know what I really dislike about mine? Like, obviously nobody should be re-uploading people's content, but a lot of times, because of kind of the nature of my channel, people will take one of my videos about Shopify, for example, and repost it, put an affiliate link below it, and it almost makes it look like I'm promoting some
BS
course or software that I'm not affiliated with whatsoever.
You don't want to, and that's even worse for you, because mine is like, whatever, it's just a cigarette review. But you're providing advice or something like that, or anything for your content, your channel, and someone is literally stealing that and then linking it to something that you're not
behind. Yeah,
that's terrible, because now they're making you look like a bad guy.
Right, like I'm
and you're not. That's the thing. So, and that's why you have to defend your image and what you do on YouTube, because sometimes people are just vultures out there, you know, and they're like, oh, there's so much BS, man, you know.
You know what? This is probably a first for YouTube interviews, but I want to get into some comments that people had asked. I've been drinking way too much coffee. I hate to desert you. I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick, and I'll be right back.
Take your time, my friend. And now you guys are stuck with me on here. But yeah, Johnny's a really good guy. and I'm having a really fun time doing this. I hope you guys are having a really good time enjoying this as well. Something different that I've done. I've never really done anything like this before. You know, people who do on, you know, like Newsweek did an article and stuff on me, and one of their journalists reached out to me and had something done. And it's just not the same. You know, this interaction here face to face, something that's really, really cool. And I hope it's something that you guys enjoy, and especially if my viewers are tuned in, viewing this video right now, I hope it's something that you're enjoying as well. It's something a lot different. Plus, you actually got to you got to watch me smoke my pipe for the first time. It's different. But I hope everyone is enjoying their day today, wherever you're at, wherever you're tuning in from the world, whether it's the morning, the afternoon, the evening. Thank you for taking the time to tune in to this lovely interview. And I hope you're all having a great time.
You know, it's funny. I was just talking to another buddy of mine the other day, and he said that's why I don't drink coffee during interviews or live streams. Yeah.
Well, I'm just, I don't know, like I don't like doing that in general. I usually drink, I mean, I like drink coffee. I had espresso this morning, but when I'm at work or something like that, I drink the Monster Rehabs, like those non-carbonated monsters. I love those. And those things, Jesus, like you just go right through you. Like you just start urinating like 3 times an hour. It's like, it's unbelievable.
Let's see what some people are. I got some questions from Reddit that some of your fans were wanting me to ask, and we'll see kind of what we got in the. I'll kind of start here, and then we'll kind of address some of the YouTube questions. And I know Nick has to get to work this afternoon, so we'll probably try to start wrapping this up. But if any of you guys have questions for Nick about his channel, YouTube, anything else, feel free to drop them. Some gentleman said, I suspect that I'll be busy when that live stream is occurring. So a few of my questions would be, what is your favorite cigarette you ever smoked, both for filtered and non-filtered?
So, and that's a question I get a lot. You know, a lot of people tell me I should make like a top 10 video. And again, it's subjective because there's stuff I find every day. You know, like I started getting some cigarettes in Japan, and they just completely rocked my world. Because I didn't know that's how good some of the cigarettes are in Japan, on my personal opinion. But like non-filtered cigarettes, a lot of my people know Commanders. You know, this cigarette that I'm smoking right now is this English Oval thing. You know, they don't make them anymore, but they made them in the United States for a while. And I just have a small stock of them. Okay. And I smoke them from time to time with very good cigarettes. Like this isn't my favorite, but the Commanders usually are. But this one's really cool. Just a very unique kind of they're oval shaped and come in this really nice packaging and stuff like that. You know? Okay. But it's a very, very interesting cigarette. But Commanders are better. That's like a regular soft pack, old school cigarette, and I like those a lot. Filtered cigarette, I probably have to say, I smoked a cigarette from Japan it was called Peace. It was a special edition one. They have a brand called Peace in Japan, and they have 2 different kinds. Like they have like a regular filter one, and then they have like the original non-filter one, which is really, really good, really, really strong. But because like I think some of Japanese cigarettes are actually stronger than ours. Most of them on the market, a lot of them are. But they had this one special edition one called Peace, and it comes like this really beautiful blue tin, metal tin, and it opens up, and it's, you know, it's like this, but it's like on steroids compared to this, like how beautiful the quality of it is and stuff like that. And as soon as you open it, like there's just all this like smell vanilla and stuff like that. Just this absolutely good flavoring that they add to the cigarettes and stuff like that. Almost similar to what a pipe would, like pipe tobacco would be, because a pipe tobacco, like I was smoking mine, you probably smelled it a little bit. Right. Maybe how it kind of smells nice, the pipe. Right. This is aromatic, and that's kind of how that cigarette was. But man, it was amazing. It just had so much flavor. And I have a review on my channel. I said this is one of the best cigarettes I've ever smoked, and it was just very special. I believe it was like 5,000 yen for 4 packs of them. So is that a lot of money? Or I think it comes out to $13, $14 a pack USD wise, and that's more expensive. You know, Chicago cigarette prices, whatever. You know, crazy. We know a pack of Marlboros in Chicago is almost $15 for crazy. When you're in Cook County, right? Yeah. So what is it back in Cook County? It's probably got to be, it's $11 now, you know, because I'm not in the city, but we're in Cook, you know, being in Cook County, right? You're still getting that Cook County tax. The city tax is astronomical, right? You know? And I don't buy cigarettes in my county. I go out to Will or something like that. You know what she got me thinking of, and my mind's always going to business angle, but what's really big right now is obviously like subscription boxes. Absolutely. And one of my buddies, he buys for his son. I think it's called Munch Pack. It's like snacks from around the world.
And I'm sure from a regulatory angle, it would probably be impossible to do with cigarettes, but that would actually be kind of a neat idea for.
It absolutely would be, you know, but and just unfortunately with government and stuff like that and regulations, it's not.
Because it is fun to kind of see the different packaging, the different advertising, the different products and flavors.
Absolutely.
I heard in Japan they have like 27 different flavors of Kit Kats, everything from green tea to.
Even their cigarettes, man. You know, you got like pineapple clicks in them. You know, it's like Camel Crush. You know, they got pineapple clicks. They got like cherry. All this interesting flavors that we don't have here because again, in 2009 we banned that here. With the PACT Act and stuff like that, these flavored cigarettes, but there's so many interesting ones in the world. Even Mexico has a lot of those. You know, Mexico has. I did a couple of videos. My friend Ivan brought me back a couple of cigarettes from Mexico and stuff like that. When he was down there, just wild stuff that like, we don't have here. You know, you're stuck with like if you want to have a click in your cigarettes, Camel Crush or Marlboro NXT. That's all we have. But all these, even Europe, they have all these incredible cigarettes with 1, 2 beads in the filter, different flavors, different menthols. It's incredible.
Now he hit a second part, but I thought. Best movie smoking scene of all time.
Gotta be Goodfellas.
Goodfellas.
It's gotta be when Robert De Niro is planning on killing that one dude with the wig. And he's sitting at the bar. He's kind of drunk or whatever like that, and you got Sunshine of Your Love playing in the background, Cream or whatever like that. He's sitting there at the bar like smoking a cigarette. He's like looking at it. He's like looking at him and stuff like that. Just kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna kill this guy. You know, I think it's one of the top movie smoking scenes.
You know, I would have to say the first one that came to my mind was, have you seen True Romance?
Yes.
The scene where, I can't think what his name is, but where Christian Slater's father knows he's about to be killed and then asks for the Chesterfield.
Yep.
And I think that's probably my all-time favorite one if I had to think. The other one, I always think Donnie Brasco, another good movie when he and Pacino are in a car and Pacino insists on smoking with all the windows up.
Yep.
So yeah, those are kind of two that come to mind.
You've seen Inglourious Basterds.
You know, I haven't seen that one.
Seen that one? There's a scene when they're in this basement of like and they're at this bar or whatever like that because you know they're trying to kill Hitler and stuff like that, but they're like they know German and they're like Americans dressed up like that and they're like blending in as German officers and stuff like that. And then like a big German officer comes into the bar or whatever like that and sits there and he ends up finding out like he's like, oh, I know you. He's like, I know you guys are like you're not German.
Right.
He knows that, so they kind of know him pending doom and one army guy, you know, the military guy, U.S. guy, he just like lights up a cigarette and he's talking to him because like they got guns pointing at each other at the table. He just lights up a cigarette. He's like, all right, well, this is how we're gonna do this then. Or like, you know, but it's like first instinct, it's like, oh, I'm gonna die. You might as well light up a cigarette right now, you know, and go out as a badass style doing it. You know?
Have you seen? I don't know why this one comes to mind, but me and my girlfriend have been obsessed with the show The Deuce.
I haven't heard of it. No.
It's a Showtime show. It's kind of about Times Square in the 70s and like the peep shows and all that kind of stuff. But that's another show that's very much so got a lot of smoking in it.
I'll have to check it out.
Do you prefer the old Camel Pack designs or the new looks of them?
The old.
Also, your favorite cigarette pack artwork or any cigarette you've smoked. Okay, so yeah, I guess he wants to know the best cigarette pack artwork as well as like the best or most outrageous kind of like warning signs.
Well, the ones, if you've seen the ones from Europe and stuff like that, are the ones that got actual pictures and stuff in there, like amputated, like
or
toes and
baby,
shit.
like stillborn babies and
stuff like that. Yeah, I mean that's wild packaging. I don't know, and they're very real health risks, but the way that they're illustrated, I think, is just very insane. It's very insane how some of it, you know, they say that. You know, I've seen the ones. You know, I had one from Mexico where it's like a cigarette that kind of bends like a limp dick,
right?
And it's like, and it says it causes impotence. You know, cigarette smoking causes impotence, or like that mean like reduced blood flow. You know, and when your dick doesn't get bigger, that's what they're saying. Like just funny stuff.
Right.
Like some of them are almost comical. You know.
Well, if you want to get guys to quit smoking, that's probably the best.
Yeah, but it doesn't. But it doesn't even do it. At that point, it's funny because if someone wants to smoke a cigarette, they're gonna smoke a cigarette, which most people do. So even the warning labels, they really don't care about it. You know.
You know, I noticed Leon Lushin's video about you kind of said, like, we all know what we just, not even smoking, but just in life. We know we're supposed to eat healthy. We're not supposed to drink. We're not. And he said, you know, we humans are just stupid and we kind of want our immediate gratification.
Absolutely.
And for some people that may be smoking. For other people, it may be fatty foods. For, you know, everyone's got their thing.
I say that a man that doesn't have some kind of vice is a very boring man. And it's you know, I've even met people in my life who tell me that they don't like listening to music.
Right.
And I just think it's incredible. Like there's people that are that dull in life. And then no offense to them, but there's just people like they're just very straight people. Like I don't even listen to music. I'm like, well, what do I do?
Right.
You know, but like it's like, even if you just smoke a cigarette, if you're a cigarette smoker, like what's wrong with having a small vice like that? I think people are very uninteresting who don't have at least some kind of vice. You know, everyone does. It doesn't have to be smoking or drinking, but some kind of vice. You know, it just, everyone has their own way of going about things and doing things, and for pleasure, for smoke, for Christ's sake, for smoking a cigarette or a cigar or anything like that. What's the issue with it? You know.
Now, how about podcasts? Are there any smoking podcasts, or have you ever thought about starting a podcast?
It'd be cool, you know, doing something like this, you know, and you know, having guests on, interviewing people. But I don't know how many of them would be okay with the idea of smoking, you know. Because, you know, again, not too many people like smoking cigarettes and stuff nowadays, unfortunately. You know, well, it's not unfortunate. It might be a good thing for public health concerns, but I like cigarette smoking. You know, there's a lot of people who do. I'm sure you like it too, to an extent. And it's just like, you know, a podcast, you know, vlogs and stuff like that, you know, talking more casually about different topics and subjects and stuff like that. I think it's something to explore. But like a Joe Rogan show, I know, like that'd be awesome. But Joe Rogan, you know, he's gonna smoke, you know? You know.
But you know what, and that's kind of like when I had you on, this is kind of like a new direction. I kind of like, I'm not going to change the direction of the channel, but I thought about maybe either starting another channel or starting to more incorporate. I just want to kind of get to know people, talk to interesting people, hear about other people's lives and things like that. And Joe Rogan even says, you know, this thing has got big to the point where if I find somebody out there who I think is interesting, I have this platform, I can get him on, we can shoot the shit, smoke some joints together, talk, hang out.
And it's going to get 20 million views. You know?
And it's awesome that he's got that long form, like 3-hour discussions. And I mean, the whole thing is interesting and fascinating.
And that's, I think that, now, he's not the first person who did something like that, but the way that he goes about it, and especially having so many high-profile figures and stuff on his show. But, you know, for Christ's sake, he got Elon Musk to smoke a blunt on his show. Like, and Tesla just tanked after that and he got in a lot of trouble because of that. But that kind of effect Joe Rogan has, like, he'll lull this man of Tesla company to come on. It's sweet, it's legal here, right? Like, to do that on his, and it's like, because it's just so casual and it's so inviting to what they talk about and to what they do on the show. You know, I don't agree with some of the stuff that Joe Rogan says, especially when not too long after he had that interview with Elon Musk, he was saying, "Oh, yeah, he's a weird guy" and stuff like that. I'm like,
you have him on and then kind of talk shit about him.
A different guy, you know. He has someone else on his channel and talk about, "Oh yeah, that Elon Musk guy." He's like, "Yeah, he's kind of a weird guy when I have him on my show." I'm like, well, everyone you have on your show are individuals. Everyone has their own views, their own ways of doing things and stuff like that. And that's one thing that I like being on YouTube and meeting so many people and stuff like that. Is that you get to, especially like this, you know, you get to meet people and you get to discuss different things and you get to just see how everyone thinks and how they do things. And it's just a very, very interesting experience. And everyone in the world deserves some platform to be heard or spoken, I believe. And I think, you know, it'd be great to hear everyone's story, you know, whether you're 20 years old or you're 200 years old, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, I want to hear someone's experience about things in their life. I want to hear someone's life story. Or just talk very casually about something. I
think that's one of the big allures of YouTube. Is I remember as a kid, like laying in bed and thinking about, like, what is a kid's life who grows up in California like? Like I lived in Minnesota for a number of years. So after school, we played tackle football in the snow. But I think about, you know, I used to watch Baywatch when I was a kid. And I think about, what is a Hobie or whatever, and like they're going to the beach after school surfing. And so just kind of getting a glimpse into people's lives. And I think that's kind of what's really attractive about YouTube, because really none of us are famous. You're just watching people. But sometimes people will be like, do a house tour. It's like, who the fuck am I? You know, I'm nobody, but like people are kind of curious to know about you and what you're up to. And so, that's one of the kind of cool aspects about this.
They want to see what's behind the face of what you do on YouTube. They want to see what beyond, you know, and that's something that you feel comfortable with. You want to divulge more in your personal life or things that you do off camera and stuff like that. And that's why, you know, that's a fine line for me, because, you know, a lot of people ask about family and stuff like that. It's like, I don't like bringing family or stuff like that, or like personal people into my stuff, because like I don't know if they're going to be comfortable with me doing it. So I'd be respectful of that and mind their own personal space and stuff like that. But mine, you know, whatever, I'll talk about what I do. So I'm comfortable with doing that to front people. But, you know, usually I just don't like bringing in too many other people into the mix with that, because are they going to be comfortable with that?
You know, we were just kind of getting back, but I know we talked about kind of being comfortable on the camera and stuff like that. And you're younger, but I think you're still old enough that you maybe didn't grow up with a iPad in your hand at 5. And I remember I heard, I think it might have been on Joe Rogan or something, Candace Owen, she's that conservative younger girl. And she was talking to somebody about being on YouTube, and she's like, there's nothing, and it really isn't, there's nothing natural about sitting and talking to a camera. Whereas like I see one of my girlfriend's nephews, they started a YouTube channel unbeknownst to their mom and things like that. And they were actually over here one day, and you know, they're cussing at people on YouTube and stuff. But like they grew up with a tablet in their hand. It is nothing for them to sit there and hi YouTube and yeah. And for us, you know, if you didn't grow up with it, it's kind of weird. It's kind of unnatural.
As we say, yeah, because like you were probably terrified the first time I did a video. I was terrified the first time I did a video. You look, if you know who I am, you go on my channel, you know, and you see my welcome to my channel like video. Like I was terrified in that video. Like I was very awkward.
Right.
But now it's as the more time you're doing it, and you have, you're just comfortable with what you do now. That's the whole thing. And now it's like, because this could be a flower pot, you know, like to me, like I wouldn't care. Like I'm not even really acknowledging it too much, you know, but it's there and we're talking into it. There's a microphone, you're hearing everything we're saying, and people from around the world are currently tuned in and watching this right now.
We know it's kind of funny. I like this setup we have here. This is a little bit of the Joe Rogan thing, and I haven't posted it. My buddy Jared, who he may be watching this, he came over here one day and he did an interview about Praxis, that program we were talking about, and we were sitting on the couch right behind you. And I've done the live streams with people over Hangouts, and it's, you know, I'm looking at my screen, they're looking at their screen. But when we actually did it in person, we're sitting side by side. It's like, shit, do I look at the camera? Do I look at him?
Absolutely.
And he was like a natural, and he doesn't do YouTube, but he was like a natural, just looked normal. And me, you can see I'm like, it was like the most awkward thing. And I never, then my girlfriend walked in the middle of it and kind of interrupted it. And it was like a 2-hour long thing, so I was going to have to edit it. And I feel bad. It never wound up actually getting posted.
Don't you hate when that happens when you get interrupted during it? Oh, it happens. It happens. You get interrupted while you're doing it.
Well, you know what's funny? I know you said you don't edit, so I don't edit either. And so sometimes I'll make a video, and I might be 45 minutes into a video, and I'll fuck something up, or someone will call my phone. And whereas really I could probably hop in and chop out that 15 seconds. I'll delete it, start the whole video over. And then it's kind of hard doing it the second time, because you're like, did I say this already, or was that in the last video? And
I had a terrible video experience once. I made one of my videos, and some people will probably remember this, but as a cigarette I had, I think it was called like Marlboro Purple Burst or something like that.
Right.
The entire video I referred to it as Purple Blast. And while I was doing the video, I was like ashing the cigarette out of the window, and I just ashed the whole cigarette went out the window.
Right.
And during the video, like I'm like, oh shit, well I'm still doing this. So I got out of my car, picked the cigarette up, and just got back in and continued doing it. But it was a train wreck of a video, but a lot of people got a kick out of that.
Right.
So I'm like, man, guys, this wasn't my day. You know, and they see, you know, it's like, you know, there's imperfections to it, because I don't edit and do stuff like that. But at that point I'm like, well, I'm already in it. I'm already like a couple minutes in this thing. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep going as usual, you know. The cameras are rolling still, you know.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people kind of actually appreciate the authenticity and everything not being so polished, because everything is so presented on YouTube and everything.
And that's the thing, is that you see so much content now. And I don't hate on people who edit their videos and stuff like that, but they're just like, and you look at the amount of time, like it probably takes hours for people to edit these videos.
Right.
Like, and it's a lot of time and a lot of work, but I understand that, because that's their whatever they're doing with YouTube, that's how they want their image, and that's how they want their videos to be, and they want to edit them and stuff like that and put all these different stuff in there. And I don't hate on it.
Right.
But for me personally, I'm like, there's no way in God's green earth am I going to be able to sit there and edit every video like that, and to put little clips and little cartoon animations and stuff and all this stuff. That's very time consuming, you know.
For me, I've tried to get into it, and I probably could up my production value, but I've tried to get into it, and it's just not something I'm good at. I figure I can put out a lot more content just making the content than if I'm having to edit every little thing.
And your subscribers appreciate how much content you put out because of it, because it increases, in essence, they're getting to see a lot more of what you do and stuff like that, because you know, there's people who can make one video and it takes them a week to upload their next video.
Right.
There's so much suspense and so much, oh my gosh, I'm waiting. You know, their viewers, your subscribers sitting there like, I'm waiting for this content and stuff like that. My viewers and your videos, I'm sure, like they don't like it when you go for like a certain period, like without almost a week without a video. And I hate when that happens, and it does come up from time to time. Like I was just sick for 2 weeks and I didn't upload like a video for like 2 weeks, and I just gotten a ban from YouTube, and people are like, whoa, come on, like you're back, like come on, you know. And I'm like, hold on a second, you know, I'm watching my health, you know. I wasn't smoking or anything like that, and I'm back now, you know. But and I don't like it when you have to take breaks like that. I'm sure you don't like it when you got to take an abnormal
when it's kind
break.
of weird getting back into it too.
And it will feel weird. Definitely, it feels weird because you're out of the loop of what you've been doing, and it just, you know, it happens. But you know, we have our own personal lives and we have our own things going on in our lives, and
You know, they say these days for the algorithm, they say like the most important thing you can do is like if you upload every day, your channel's going to grow. There's just no two ways around it.
Like today, like even today after this, like I'm planning on probably shooting a video and uploading it if I have time to do it, or maybe it'll be after work or something like that. I'll upload it, but like I still, you know, and I want to try and upload at least 2 or 3 times a week. You know, I could upload 5 days a week.
Right.
That's promising way too much. You know, it's too much promising. Three videos a week, because I don't know. Like I said, my life's been all around. You know,
right.
Having things come up here and there all over the place. And it's just like I can't promise that. You know, that's why like I don't have, like, some people just have regularly set schedules and stuff like that. I'm like, unfortunately I can't keep to that, because like I said, this is more of a hobby of mine. And it's not something that I do as like a full-time job, or I'm not trying to be an influencer or have like my own brand image and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's something that I like to do on the side, and a lot of people enjoy it. So,
you know, one thing that you and I have in common, we both do a lot of car videos, I've noticed. And my thing was the same thing. I've seen yours as well, yeah. Yeah, I used to, people would always kind of joke about car videos and stuff, and it's...
there's a magic behind it.
We know what I like, it's when you're just staring at a camera, at least for me, it's kind of awkward. So the fact that I'm driving kind of takes my mind off the idea that there's a camera. And also just for efficiency, like a lot of people get dressed up and they have their little studio here. And you know, to me, if I was having to put on a shirt and tie and put my little plants behind me, nothing would ever get made. Right. Whereas every day, you know, when I was running my business, maybe 20-minute ride down the road every day, on the way home and on the way back, you know, there's 20 minutes I'm doing nothing in the car that I can shoot a video.
Being very productive about it, you know, and you're using your time very efficiently to do that, you know. But there still is a magic behind it.
Oh yeah,
there really is. And it's like, I don't know, like there's people like, because you have viewers that say, oh yeah, like your car videos are awesome. You know, people say like, oh, you need to do more car videos. I used to do a lot of my videos in this garage, and it looked very obscure because there was all this different shit and stuff, all this stuff behind me and stuff. And people were like, they like that a lot. Well, unfortunately, I don't shoot in there anymore, but a lot of people like those settings, and you make like a regular kind of a setting, and it becomes part of what you do on your channel. Right. It really does. And because it's like, people see that and they're like, oh, this is going to be good. Right. You know, like, oh, it's the car, you know, it's the car again. It's the garage, you know. There
was some guy who, his bedroom, he just, you know, he wrote all over the walls with magic marker and stuff. And people with, I guess it was like an ongoing thing, and he never really addressed it. People are like, are you in a crack house? Are you in, like, what is this place? And then I think one day he actually made a video like, look, this is my bedroom. Like,
here's the tour.
Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of interesting. Let's see what else some people wondering about. Have you ever thought about doing anything with your old packs, collage artwork or anything like that?
No. I know that people, I don't, people think that I keep a lot of the stuff that I review and stuff like that, or old packs, stuff like that. I really don't. And that's just because in my case, you know, I'm kind of digitizing that this did exist. Right. You know, at one point in time, you know, and a lot of people, there is a decent amount of people out there that actually save cigarette packs, stuff like that. And there's people who have some of the largest cigarette collections in the world. If you actually Google it and look up, there's like people who own tens of thousands of different cigarette packs from around the world that they've smoked, and they just keep the packs and stuff like that. Or I've seen people even on Reddit, on our cigarettes, stuff like that. They have drawers full and they have all this stuff. It's something I did when I started smoking. Right. But then the thing was like, well, I started smoking when I was in college, my freshman year. I had a small single dorm. I was storing all my old packs in like one of my drawers and stuff like that. And then it just became to the point where it's like, shit, well, I got 10 packs of Marlboro Lights, 10 packs of Camels, 10 packs of this, and it just like stayed up space. Right. And it's like, at one point I was even taping them to my wall, you know, but it became like just kind of silly. You know? It's like, to me, it's like, I don't have space for all this, and I still don't have space for all this stuff, you know. But me shooting the video and putting it on YouTube is a way of digitizing that this did exist at one point. Like this cigarette, like they don't make it anymore, but it exists. I actually still have them and I still smoke them, but they exist because at one point in time, these, you know, whatever, it's 30, 40 years down the road, they're never going to exist because they're going to be completely dried up and the supplies have to be gone, or someone's going to have old vintage packs, but probably me, because I probably will with these, but just because this is such a unique and high quality cigarette. This is something that I would keep, but like regular, like my pack of Marlboro Reds or something like that.
I'll also look on Etsy. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody does some cool stuff. So I like, you ever go to the flea market up in Rosemont?
I've heard of it.
In the parking lot of Allstate. Really neat, but they do a lot of, you can find a lot of old like Coke and Pepsi, Green River, like the things that they delivered the bottles in, a lot of like old Americana advertising and things like that.
And there's a huge market to Americana.
Oh yeah.
There's a huge thing with that vintage Americana, and I think it's really cool. And if you ever watch those shows, like what is it, like Pickers or whatever like that? Was that
American Pickers? Yeah,
American Pickers.
That's all about old oil cans and cigarettes.
That's cool seeing some of that stuff. Some of it to me is absolutely boring. I'd rather watch the grass.
Right.
You know, like, oh yeah, this vintage doll. I don't care about it because because I don't like dolls.
Right.
I guess I didn't. We're all playing dolls or anything like that. Maybe they teach the boys to do that nowadays. You know, we call them action figures.
Right.
But yeah, but it's like it's so cool seeing like that, like these signs, like even if it's like a gas station sign, it's from like 1910 or something.
Yeah, like the evolution of the.
And especially if they find it, it's like completely in great condition. It almost looks mint. You know,
right.
New. Like it's very cool seeing that because. And the quality back then was completely different from what it would ever be today.
Oh yeah,
because they just built everything with the highest quality and used the best stuff to make all that stuff.
Right.
And that's I think that's another reason why that Americana has an appeal to it because it kind of lasts. Like it was
craftsmanship.
It was good craftsmanship. Nowadays it's just like or whatever. Like it's probably going to be replaced in a year ago anyways, and it's just made
some
really
plastic,
crappily. Yeah, plastic or some kind of shitty steel or something like that, and it just. And it just everything thing is now today everything can be replaced so easily because you know that's the way that we go about it with all this stuff. Everything can be replaced. Back in the day they made everything to last. Nowadays it's just
I saw some article. This is completely off topic, but I saw some article the other day and they were talking about I think especially having to do with appliances and things like that. They were going to pass some law about either quality or things had to be repairable because like you said, I mean everything has become throwaway and they talk about landfills and everything else. But I actually was just reading about some law the other day that they wanted everything to stop being such a disposable kind of society and everything.
And honestly, I'm not sure if you've looked into that, but it's the same thing with cars nowadays.
Right.
Like people like are dumping cars at 100K miles, you know, and it's like because they're like by that time it's almost that point where the car's probably like barely running anymore, or it's like there's so much work that needs to be done with it, it's not even economical to repair all of it anymore because on a financial standpoint.
Right.
And it's like back in the day they really didn't do that. Like it was just they were built good. Most of them were built good and even when we talk about appliance stuff like that, everything has become so disposable. Like, oh, whatever, just throw it out and buy another one off Amazon because it's 2-day shipping. You're going to get it or free one day now. For Christ's sake, they're doing it on Amazon now. But everything can be replaced, and that's the scary thing. Is that like and then if you want to look at it on a huge factor and stuff like that, and you want to talk with the people who are about climate change and all this stuff like that, and all this waste and all this disposal stuff like that, it's like you think they're recycling half of this stuff,
right?
You know, it's like it's all just going in landfills, like. You had that toaster for a year. It's got one scorch mark inside. Like whatever, I'm going to buy another one off Amazon and just throw this really good toaster that still works fine away. You know,
it's funny. I was talking to a buddy the other day, and we were talking about with that cash for clunkers that happened years and years ago. But all these, I hate to say classic because they weren't really nice cars, but just all these cars that were like memorable from my childhood and things like that. You'll never see like an old like Mercury Cougar or a Chevy Beretta or like the Oldsmobile 88 Brougham and, you know, all these cars that like used to be all over the place. You never see any of that stuff
anymore.
Wasn't
that like a failed program too?
I think so, yeah.
And he still got rid of all those cars. It's kind of a shame.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's very interesting. That's something to talk about, though. It's interesting.
You know, somebody was asking, are you interested in collab? I know when I reached out to you, I reached out to a lot of people. A lot of people either don't get back to you or they only want to mess with people over. Someone had asked if you're interested in meeting up with other reviewers for a chill collab. Are you like you open to?
Here's the thing. Like I've had a lot of people reach out to me about that, and you know, I actually went on a trip, for example, to when I got back from Oklahoma in September. I took a small trip out to the East Coast to Washington, D.C. because I never really stayed on the East Coast anywhere like that. It was either between New York or Washington. And I'm like, Washington, D.C. is the nation's capital and stuff like that. And there was a lot of history there. And I went there, and I actually had several viewers who lived in Washington, D.C. They would go to college out there, and they have a house out there. And one night they saw I was in Washington, D.C., and they invited me over wherever I went there and chilled with them. And it was really cool. And, you know, I was on vacation at the time.
Right.
So you're not really doing much on vacation, you know. But over here, it's like, you know, now that I'm back into reality and doing stuff, working and seeing friends and family and having my own personal life, it was difficult sometimes to go out of my way and do that. You know, a lot of people, I wish I could visit everywhere. You know?
Right.
Oh, you know, just people who love me in Australia. Australia loves me. The Irish love me. You know, and I love to go there visit, but time and money wise, you know, it's very hard to do stuff. And I'd like to at one point in time probably visit every state in the United States. You know, and it's a cool thing. And if I'm out there one day, you know, definitely. It's like, hey, I'm out in this state. You know, I was like, hey, I was in Washington, D.C. Hey, I was in Baltimore when I was out there on the East Coast. And nobody hit me up in Baltimore. Maybe a couple, I think people did after the fact when I was already home because I was only in Baltimore for one night. But I was in D.C. for like 3 days. So like there's plenty of ample time if someone wanted to meet up. Like, hey, you know, we could. Over here, it's like, you know, there's only so many places you can go and do stuff. Collaborating and stuff like that. You know, I did that in one of my older videos with a friend from my neighborhood or wherever like that. And I never really liked the idea of collaborating that much. It's more for the cigarette review purposes. Like I never, because it's like, it's my opinion. And if I like, and then like you do another cigarette review with someone and they could have a completely opposite opinion in the same video. I think it's just kind of washing itself out. That point, you know, because like, and I say, you know, opinion, it's my opinion. Everyone's got their own opinion of whatever they do, you know, whatever it could be. But I just think that the purpose of my content, what I do is like, this is my opinion as Nick the Smoker, you know, not featuring somebody, not featuring.
It's cool, kind of cool that you brought up about YouTube. Is I'll oftentimes get people, oh, if you're ever out in this area, hit me up. And there's a couple like van dweller guys who travel around. And a couple of them I've chatted with a bit. And I'm like, you know, next time you're in Chicago, if you want to either crash at the place or if you want to drive way to park and whatever, swing by. I know Brian from San Diego, you know, if you're from out in San Diego, so it's kind of cool that you kind of have a network of people that you kind of have some rapport with all over the place.
And you definitely want to meet up with those people and spend time with those people. It's just difficult sometimes. You know, it really is. And because again, you have your own personal life, I have my own personal life, and I would love to meet with people, because I said people are very interesting, and I've just chatted with so many interesting people, and just like yourself, how we're chatting and doing this right now is very, you know, this is very, very cool for me. It's not something that I've done before, really. You know, the Newsweek article, yes, you know, they told me, oh, you know, we're gonna have to fit this to fit the narrative and stuff like that, the article, so we might have to modify it, because most of the words on the Newsweek article aren't even mine. So, and that's the thing. Like, I sent them this whole thing, and then I'm like, well, are you gonna edit this? And like, well, we're gonna have to edit some parts of it to fit our narrative. In reality, it was pretty much the author just butchered it, you know. And I'm not hating on him, because I know that's how journalism is to an extent. But I mean, it's like, well, where is all of my words? You know, where's all my stuff? Because you kind of like took the 2 paragraphs that I sent you and compressed it into a sentence and a half, is what it came down to.
I mean, it's funny. Another guy I know, he recently had a little feature of him done in either Forbes or Fortune or one of those. And he talked about, you know, they had sent a photographer out and this, that, and the other. But he said the same thing. He was like, you know, the story I told and how it actually wound up getting conveyed it kind of loosely follows it, but it's almost like a movie based on a book. You know, it's like here's kind of a framework, and then we're going to kind of turn it into the story that we want to turn it into.
And I'm waiting, because a while ago I had an individual, like a journalist, or he writes for Medium.com, if you've ever heard of him before. And he's apparently going to be doing a series, or he's going to be writing about like internet-based or social media-based bloggers that are like people who vape or smoke and do stuff like that. And he reached out to me and he asked me a lot of questions, stuff like that. I don't think his article got approved by them to be uploaded. He's not finished with it yet, but it's something I would like to see, because I know that guy. I know when he does that, it's going to be what we talk about. Accurate, and it's going to be real. You know, the Newsweek, you know, fit a narrative, know, whatever. It's like, I mean, fit a narrative to bash on YouTube is what they're doing, but in essence, it's like, was YouTube really the bad guy in my case? Not necessarily were they the bad people. They could have went about it a better way, but I mean, they were protecting their own platform is what it came down to.
But it seemed like they were actually pretty cool with you. I mean, like you actually, like you said, I mean, in due to some bigger people kind of reaching out in your defense and things like that, but it said you actually talked to a rep and they clarified the reason, which a lot of people don't get. So they actually handled yours pretty well.
And that's because, you know, and mostly, you know, it's because of someone like Leon Lush and his standing and how popular he's getting on YouTube. He's got over 1 million subscribers on his content that he makes. And I like his content a lot, because I didn't know about him until he made the video, and everyone started saying, hey, Leon Lush made a video. I'm like, who's Leon Lush? Because I don't watch YouTube that much. Like I don't watch many videos and stuff outside YouTube, but that's music or something like that, you know? And I started like, so now I watch Leon Lush, you know, when he uploads something, I'm like, oh, he uploaded a new video, it's gonna be funny as hell. Like it always is, you know.
It's funny. I'd never heard of him until I saw yours either. And I'm like, this guy's awesome. Like I watched, he did one about some billionaire kid, but yeah, his stuff's really funny. The way he edits things is really well done. And
I even got 3 seconds on PewDiePie's fucking his Pewdie news. This was a couple weeks after the whole shebang happened or whatever like that. But he was talking about Monkey Joe and some of the people and all this banning that was going on YouTube and all this stuff. And I got my 3 seconds fame on Pewdie news. He said Nick the Smoker does say reviews, and he giggled at it. But I'm like, I was on Pewdie news, because like PewDiePie, like that's something he's been on there for a while. He's been doing his stuff for a while, and he's become kind of the face of YouTube, if you will. And like he's one of the most. If he is, I'm pretty sure he is the #1 most subscribed person on YouTube. But he's become the face of it. And this is an individual, he does all this different kind of content and all this different material and stuff like that. And everyone enjoys him, you know?
Now, what did that do to your channel? Like kind of getting those mentions. So did that explode the channel?
I had a lot of people commenting like, "Oh, I'm from Pew, you know, you're from Pew and stuff like that." Pewds,
right?
There's several names, variations from Pew, Pewds, PewDiePie, whatever. But he got, you know, that gave me a little exposure. But the most exposure I think I got was from Leon Lush when he made his video.
Yeah, it was like a dedicated.
Correct. It was a full dedicated video to just satire on my channel.
I dropped the link to your channel in the description. I'm gonna have to drop that one because that was an entertaining one.
It was good. Like, and I told people, like, I'm like, stop hating on him. Like, it's not his fault that I got banned or anything like that. Like, I don't care if haters came from his channel because of it. Like, it was a funny video.
Right.
Like, it was, and at the end of the video, like, he lit up like 20 cigarettes.
Oh, with the blowtorch.
And I think it's just hilarious, you know. And then he went into his own little review spiel about me, like trying to be like me at the end like that. And I'm like, this is.
It says a lot of body.
Yeah, it's got a lot of Kim Kardashian body.
Look at that body,
you know?
No. Do you watch any YouTube? And if so, like what niches or anything like that, or
not really?
No,
I really, like I said, I really don't like if anything, it's a lot of guitar stuff.
Right.
But I don't really view content that much on YouTube. When I was younger, I used to. When I first got on the internet, was watching YouTube and stuff like that because it was cool to do. You know, when you're young and seeing all these different stuff on the internet. But it's something that I wish I did a little bit more to discover more people and stuff like that. You know, and but you know, it's something that possibly, you know. But again, we all have our time in our day that we can binge watch YouTube videos and stuff like that because. You know, there's sometimes, you know, you can sit up at night trying to fall asleep and you're watching YouTube videos for 3 hours, you know.
So I'll go down those wormholes where
exactly.
You know,
I'm on this part of the internet again.
I feel like people are either YouTuber, not even like creators, but you're either a YouTuber type person or you're not. Because I was hanging out with my girlfriend's brother back around Christmas time, and I was like, man, you know how like you start watching one video and then it leads, and next thing you know, like 6 hours have gone by, and he looks at me, and he's like, I've never fucking done that. And I was like, oh, I guess it's just me. But yeah, like, you know, people can relate to the YouTube wormhole thing. Yeah,
it happens, and then you end up watching one thing, and then you're watching something completely different you never thought you liked. People say that about my videos too. They're like, oh, I'm on this part of YouTube again. Like, oh, you hit that wormhole, you mean, where you somehow ended up watching cigarette reviews at 2:30 in the morning while you're laying in bed.
You know what's weird? It's almost creepy that YouTube knows me better than I know myself. Right? Where like, I really like documentaries and historical things. So I might be watching some video about like North Korea or something like that. And then you wind up on something totally unrelated, but something that like, you totally know my area of interest. Yeah.
And it's the algorithm does some pretty cool things on YouTube, I think. And even the advertiser stuff. You know, you could be looking up, in my case, you know, like I want to buy like a cologne or something like that. And like all of a sudden I'm getting all these advertisers for place to buy cologne and stuff like this. I'm like, what is, you know, like, you know, that's how it is nowadays. You know, it's tailored to your viewing interests and everything like that.
Well, you know what's really creepy is like I get the retargeting, which is like if I click a cookie about patio tables, the rest of the day I'm going to be talking about patio tables. And me and my girlfriend for a brief period of time had an Alexa. But even the other day we were talking, she was telling me about some lip gloss she wanted to get. And I think phones like listen to you or whatever. And she was telling me about this lip gloss or this pair of shoes. And probably like an hour later, she's scrolling through Instagram and there's an ad for it. It's like, okay, that's creepy as hell.
I still know people that put tape over their cameras and stuff like that, especially on these smart TVs and stuff like that. I know people that still do over laptops and stuff like that.
You know, I think PlayStation or somebody got in trouble a few years back that they were actually actively turning on their camera and like looking for brand labels and things like that in your house and looking. See, I mean, it's getting creepy.
Oh yeah, and dude, Amazon has that now. I'm pretty sure like. They have a feature on their app where you can take pictures of like a product or something like that and try to match in their database with if you want to buy it.
Right.
And to see if it's on Amazon. And it's like you take a picture of that light fixture on your wall and it might be on, and Amazon might say, oh yeah, here, if you want to buy a new one, here it is. You know, it's weird. We know that Alexa thing too. I'll never do that Alexa thing.
Oh yeah, we got rid of ours.
It's a little bit. And this is something this was like when Google tried to do that Google Glass thing. And it failed because people aren't comfortable with the fact that someone's walking around with a pair of glasses, which is helping them see.
Right.
Hopefully. And they're not just wearing it because whatever, it's Google Glass. But this thing is literally taking pictures of stuff and it's recording everything. And you know it's sending a stream of data to Google.
Oh, yeah.
Google's a data miner. That's why they're so successful. They mine billions of people's, millions of people's information, everything, searches, everything they do. Then you have things like Alexa coming out where now it's like you're talking to it, it's an assistant to you, but at the same time, you know this is learning who you are.
Right.
It's learning exactly who you are. It's tailoring things based on you. And you know that in order for them to better their systems and stuff like that with feedback, you know they're submitting that to the company, all that information.
You know, with what you were just, I just had to get a new phone recently, so this has a lot of features that my old one didn't. And now there's this Bixby that Samsung has, and exactly what you said, my girlfriend's brother was showing me. You could take a picture of this water bottle, and it recognizes the product, what it is. It'll show you where you can buy it. It'll break down the prices for you, which in some ways is helpful. But yeah,
it's a cool function,
right?
You know, but I don't think that we all know, especially when that whole thing came out, you know, back when Obama was president, how they found out the NSA was listening in on everyone's phone conversation, stuff like that. And I think that kind of put a rift in the modern day where people, when that came out in the mainstream news and people found out that the NSA was just listening to you talking on the phone to your mother every single day, you know, it scares people because it's a very real power that a lot of people have the ability to do and abuse. And I don't think the mainstream consumer is completely like, yeah, Alexa and stuff like that. People are starting to do it more, but I don't think the majority of them are ready for that because it just, people still enjoy the privacy at home and stuff like that, you know. And when you're out in public, wherever like that, you're like, whatever, I'm out in public, you know. But in your home, and you got this assistant sitting here, and you're like, oh, is it on? Is it off? Is it listening to what I'm doing and stuff like that? I don't think we're all ready for that.
You know, it's weird too when they're sitting in the back of the room. You know, occasionally it'll chime in when nothing's been said or something like that, or it gets really weird. You know, I'm gonna try to ramble through these. What is it about menthol that keeps you from being a menthol smoker?
That's an interesting question. I like smoking menthol from time to time, especially when it's warmer outside in the summer, because you just kind of get that cooler feeling. You know, you smoke Camel Crushes, right?
You know what? I don't crush them.
Well, I know a lot of people who do that too. A lot of people just like the flavor of that Camel Crush itself without crushing because you don't like menthol, right? Or you just don't like the flavor of that menthol in there.
You know what? I remember when I was in high school, I used to smoke Newports. And
I think we all did.
I'd like have a Newport on my way to school and get a big old buzz. And then I'd smoke like Parliament Lights when I drank and stuff like that. And I think it was actually Parliaments are kind of expensive. And someone turned me onto these.
They're like $1 more than that.
Yeah, it's like when I go out to the bars with people or whatever, if I'm hanging out with people, you know, that tends to be what people have.
Absolutely. And it's just, you know, menthol itself, like, I think it's kind of a cool thing. It's been around for a long time. There's been a lot of controversy on whether or not it should be banned, which it's probably going to be eventually. It won't be allowed because it's a flavor.
Right.
But that's the whole chopping block. That's the whole conversation that they're having with our legislators and the FDA is like, is this menthol flavoring? Is this what attracts people? And I don't think so because it's been around for a long time.
Right.
Menthol was added to cigarettes back in the 20s or maybe even earlier. It's not like Cools, you know, when Cools came out back in the day, whatever year in the 30s or whatever like that, like you think like they made Cools so that they could just sell non-filter menthol cigarettes to children back in the day. I don't think that was the issue.
Yeah.
Like now companies have committed crimes like that. That's, you know, Newport did that back a while ago, where they would go to Section 8 housing complexes and pass out Newports to children on the playground. And that's information that was published. It was required, you know, the government subpoenaed information from them when they were all this tobacco stuff, you know, all their advertising. What are they doing with their advertising? Why is there so many underage people smoking and stuff like that? And they found the Newport was going to Section 8 housing project, passing out to African-American communities and their children at the playgrounds. And Newport is an African-American cigarette. It's most African-Americans who smoke cigarettes in the United States smoke Newport, and they want to try and see if there is a correlation between that kind of deceptive marketing and advertising that they were doing back in the day. It's not the reason why it's so a long-standing thing in that community.
Right.
And even a lot of like you know, black communities and you know, Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, and NAACP, they say that, you know, menthol cigarettes are one of the downfalls to the African American community.
Right.
But they want to see if companies like Newport are the reason why it's such a long-standing thing in that community.
Have you seen? I'm going to link to this in the description box. I think people will enjoy it. Did you ever see the little Vice thing about the guy who made the Newport shoes?
Yeah, yes, I did. I actually watched that. I don't watch Vice that often. They're very interesting, some of the articles, but some of them are all over the place.
What was it that I forget? Like he was trying to, it was some kind of message about big tobacco or something, right? But
because he got his pantsuit off.
Oh yeah.
He's not even allowed to own a pair. He's not allowed.
Well, they made him turn in all his inventory,
and then his friend had bought a pair,
and he had to borrow them for the video, right?
No, like he actually, like, because he bought a pair from his friend.
Right.
That was the only way he could get around it. He couldn't own them anymore himself. He had to get rid of them, and apparently they took them or they destroyed them or whatever like that. But whoever still had them, what are they going to do? There's nothing. If someone already bought the shoes and they were out, that's theirs. That's their property now. They purchased it. So the only way he was able to get that pair or whatever like that was to buy it from his friend or someone like that. And then now it's his pair. You know, it was his company. He was producing those, but now he bought it from someone else. Someone else had his property and he bought it back, you know.
Yeah, I'll have to link to that guy. A really interesting Vice piece. I think it was some artist, like controversial artist, was trying to make a statement. So I'll link to that below.
And he got crucified for that whole
I remember
thing.
he said he's still fighting them in court and still paying money. I'm just going through some of these comments. Simple question: if you know how bad it is, how come most smokers don't make a valid attempt to quit? Just asking, not trying to be a nag. I think that kind of goes back
That's
to
a fair question. No,
oh, I think it is. I think that kind of goes back to what Leon Lush said: is how many people know that they should be exercising and aren't getting to the gym? How many people know that they shouldn't be drinking that soda and are drinking a soda or eating out? It's
absolutely. That, you know, does he want us to answer that question about that, or?
You know, I mean, that's Jason had asked that. I mean, I think that's kind of what it boils down to.
I'll tell you one thing, and this goes back to something about having a vice. This is something like the most interesting people in the world have at least one vice. You know what I'm saying? People who are interesting generally have a vice or vices.
Right.
And not to mention, like when I used to smoke cigarettes, like, you know, you'd feel the buzz and you get the nice feeling from it and stuff like that, but you get so used to the nicotine tolerance that you have, you know, you built up tolerance to the drug in your body that at this point it becomes something that is, this is where they say the habit, and the stuff forms in here. I say I'm committed, not addicted. That's what I say is kind of a little funny gesture to that, but it's something that I enjoy doing.
Right.
It's like not even the fact that like I have this terrible heroin addiction to cigarettes, something like that. It's just like my body's gonna morph and fold in half if I don't smoke a cigarette today, kind of a deal. But it's something that it calmed me down, relaxed me. You know, it's something that it's the same thing. Like at the end of the day, you know, if someone gets out of work, they go home and have a drink or they have a beer or something like that. It's something to unwind. You know, it's something that is nice. You know, I'm not saying, you know, some people smoke. I used to smoke a lot. You know, sometimes I would smoke 2 packs a day. I don't do that anymore.
Right.
It was incredible what I was smoking. It was too much. But it's relaxing. Like nowadays, it's like, especially like while I'm at work, like for half a day, for 4 hours, go out and smoke a cigarette real quick. It's like, well, relax, you mellow out a little bit. At the end of the day, you come back home, you have a cigarette, you mellow out, you relax. You're at a bar, smoke with, you know, there's nothing better than smoking and drinking. I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
It's when Leon Lush even said anything. He said, like, I can't say that it's not enjoyable. Like he said, I'm a casual smoker. Sometimes when I go out and drink, it's enjoyable. I know it's not good for me. I have actually kind of a funny story. I started working at a landscaping yard when I was 14, and you could not have a break to stand around, but you could have a smoke break. And so I didn't even inhale. I just puffed on the cigarettes and would just stand around with the older guys. But that was the only way you were getting a break, is to have a cigarette. There was no standing around. So that was kind of a funny thing. Another thing I kind of noticed, and I don't know if among your friends, but among people I know, like there's a few people who are smokers, but probably more than not, I know people who might pick up a pack of cigarettes on the way to the bar on Friday night, and they might have a couple cigarettes drinking, and then they won't touch them again until the next Friday evening or something like that.
Well, what you're going to see now with this generation and this interesting epidemic with a device like this, and how all the young kids, kind of like back in the day, you know, when people would smoke cigarettes, you know, they'd steal mom and dad's cigarettes and they'd smoke more like that, and they'd be 12 years old and they'd be smoking cigarettes and stuff like that. Now you see that same exact thing which they fought so hard to eliminate from society, that underage use and stuff like that. You see it with something like this, with this jewel that I have in my hand.
Right.
And the amount I watched this product literally come from nothing to being the most popular e-cigarette in the United States, if not probably possibly image in the entire world, in a very short period of time. You're talking 2-3 years of time. This thing rose to the top and became an incredible. This is a success story. This is an American success story right here. The makers of the company Juul. Originally was under Pax Labs, which made the herb, you know, the herb vapor.
Are they owned by the same company, or are they the same
They
company?
split. Well, they split. I believe it was a year or two ago. They split because it was just like it's 2 different images. But you know, this is an image here that they want to get adult cigarette smokers to switch to a safer alternative, and that's their company policy. But what ended up happening, unfortunately, as a result of that, with the whole vaping craze and everyone getting on it, is that you had minors and it's an incredible amount of minors using this product, and I've seen it myself.
Right.
Personally, I see it every day, and I don't understand it. Nobody understands it. The FDA is trying to understand it.
Right.
But and it's like, it's not even the cigarettes anymore. These people don't want anything to do with this, but it's the same effect.
Right.
But but I think it goes with something with human nature itself, is that we got to be puffing on something, right? I mean, let's be honest.
We know it's odd. On eBay, there's people who actually sell non-nicotine flavored juices.
Well, it exists, like regular vape juice and stuff like that. It all exists.
And there's no nicotine, right? It's
Correct.
just
It's
cotton
just flavoring,
candy, or
yeah.
I was going to say something in regards to the.
I don't like people underage smoking. I don't condone it,
right?
Because I didn't do it, but I don't like that. And this product here, and this fucking product right here, pardon my language, this thing is way more addictive than cigarettes will ever be. And people and young people are still getting on it. And this is way more addictive. This product was made to suit a cigarette smoker's palate and an experience of a cigarette. And as consequently, because of that, there is a lot of nicotine here, so that it can try and pull a cigarette smoker away and still have that same satisfying feeling as a cigarette. And that's what's so cool about this. And this is something, me as a cigarette smoker, I never thought I would get in on this, but I did, and I love it.
Right.
And I'm like, man, if I wanted to, I can put these cigarettes down and I can smoke this the rest of my life if I want to, because it's that good. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not ready to give up the regular cigarettes because I like them a lot,
Right.
I use them both jointly. But this thing is just, what is the appeal behind it? It's a USB. It looks like a USB. It's very, I understand the appeal behind it, actually, but there is just so many people using it.
Well, you know what's funny? There's I was on the north side, and my Uber driver one day happened to be this guy by the name of Rideshare Revolution, who's got a fairly popular YouTube channel about his Ubering and things like that. And I was watching one of his videos. I subscribed to him just because he was my driver, and he's kind of a cool guy. And in one of his videos recently, he was saying he finds like 3 to 4 of those in his car per day. So
when cigarettes got popular was when people were coming back from the war, from World War I, because that's when a lot of them started smoking and rolling cigarettes, and that's when and then they came back from the war, especially our boys from the United States would come back here after the war, and people would see them smoking these cigarettes. And it just gained this incredible public appeal that everyone was doing it. It took a while for women to be able to do it in public without people bashing on them too much, because if women smoked back in the day, it was it was not a woman thing to do. It was almost looked like if they were prostitutes or something like that. That's kind of how the social stigma was. But eventually that evolved, and it became two people, male and female smokers, big deal.
Right.
But people would smoke everywhere. You would smoke while you were smoking, you'd smoke while you're sitting on a chair, you'd smoke anywhere. Like, you would smoke literally anywhere, and it was common, and people do it. And you're seeing it now as a revolution with these e-cigarettes. And you saw it before when they started getting popular. And all these places for years you haven't been allowed to smoke to, all these people start walking in with vapes, and it's vaping indoors before the states were able to, before they were able to catch up with it. And you start seeing the same exact thing happening. And that's just my point exactly, is that nobody wants to stop doing it. I don't think. I think that deep down there is some kind of primal. I don't know what it is, but it's like a lot of people, they smoke or they hit a vape for the first time, regardless if it's nicotine. But there's something about the whole feeling of it. There's something about this feeling of just holding something in your hand and puffing on it, and having smoke or vape coming out of your mouth about it.
What's funny with the society thing is, I was looking at, I follow this Reddit. I think it's called Old School Cool or Old School something. And someone posted a picture of their mom. I think it was 1980, so not that long ago. And she had just had this person's sister, just given birth to the sister. And she was sitting in the hospital, and she had a roasted chicken in front of her and a cigarette in her hand, laying in the hospital bed. And I thought 2 interesting things. One, smoking in a hospital, and also hospital food that is not gelatin. They actually gave her a roasted chicken. So a lot of the times that stuff's just kind of funny to see how much things have changed.
It's like coming from my little experience from being in the aviation side of things, it's like back in the day, the golden age of aviation, when it was like a luxury to fly. But I mean, you'd be getting these incredible meals, you'd be able to smoke, drink, do whatever you want, pretty much just party. Like, your flight, your travel was like a little bit of a party, if you will. It was just something that was cool to do.
People used to wear their best clothes to the airport, where instead of now you see everyone in flip flops and things like that.
Absolutely. And nowadays, of course, it's like riding plus. You know, it's like because it just becomes so commercialized and it's like necessary. You know, like yeah, you can drive from Chicago to New York if you want, but do you really want to do that? Or you're just gonna hop on a Spirit or Southwest Airlines and fly in. You know, it's cheap, it's economical nowadays to do it.
You know, it's funny. We were watching a lot of Christmas movies and stuff over the holidays, and I think we were watching Planes, Trains, and Automobiles one day. But when you look at the old movies and you see how big and comfortable the seats used to be, I was on a flight recently, and man, they got these things down to the point where like your tray table is like a little 4 inches by 6 inches. The
Absolutely.
seats are slimmed down to nothing, and you're seeing these big, comfortable. Yeah,
it's a sardine can nowadays, especially if you fly Spirit. Southwest ain't too bad, you know. I actually heard that one of their founding members passed away a couple of days ago, I believe, Southwest Airlines. But Southwest Airlines was revolutionary to the aviation industry because they more or less made it like okay to fly like airlines, like economical, cheap.
right.
But at the same time, they were providing quality. Like they weren't providing absolute best quality like some of their competitors would, but it was a lot cheaper, and they were still providing quality flight experience. That's why Southwest Airlines revolutionized, you know, as a low-cost carrier in the United States.
So they seem to be the only friendly. They're the only carrier that doesn't rip you off on the bags. That
Great
still
customer
has decent
service.
sized seats.
And that's another thing about them is that their customer service is prime,
Right.
especially for aviation stuff like that. Because you know there's a lot of headaches gonna be involved in flying and stuff like
Right.
that. Flights can be canceled, delayed, stuff like that. Flights get pushed back, stuff like that. You know, there's a lot of factors that go into it. But Southwest always, I think they just do a very good job at it. And now we're not allowed to smoke on planes.
Right.
But then again, let's be honest. Like, you want to smoke at 30,000 feet? You know, you want to have 200 people on planes smoking cigarettes.
Right.
It's going to get pretty terrible in there pretty quick. You know.
Someone was asking, I said, I think we'll wrap this up after this one, just because I know you got to get going to work. We've been on here for a while. Someone said if they ever crack down hard on vaping, do you see people who were only vapors switching to cigarettes, or you think
It's
they'll
coming.
give up the habit?
It's coming this year. You're going to see it. I said this Juul has been being investigated by the FDA for quite some time now, and they're trying to wonder what their appeal is. The FDA raided Juul's headquarters a couple times to grab documents and information about what they do with their marketing and their advertising because they want to know why. They want to know why there's so many underage kids using their product in general. It's underage vapors they're not just using Juul, using different things, but why is this so popular? And the flavors and Juul even went, this is incredible. It's an incredible thing for them to do. This is an industry standard. This is a private company, not a big tobacco company. Rose to the ranks of the e-cigarette world, dominated the market, and they've set the precedent now that we're going to make our flavors only available to people who are 21 or older because we had flavors since we began this company, and they were just meant to be something different for adult smokers. But because of all the backlash stuff they got, they're like, we're going to reduce our revenue and what we sell in the interest of public health and to be less so people are less skeptical because you know you want to smoke a creme brulee or a mango fruit pot, you know, Juul pot, stuff like that, but now you have to be 21 to buy it. And you're going to start seeing this happening. Stores that sell Juul products, they will be able to sell those still, but they're going to have to use their own Juul's own age verification system in stores where you have to be 21 to purchase. If you want to buy a mango Juul pot in a retail store who has that technology and goes through that system, they're going to have to verify your age. And I believe it's through Social Security verification.
You know, it's kind of interesting about that. They almost come off, I don't know if it's their intention, but they almost come off as more of a tech company than they do a consumer product company.
Absolutely. And they really did, because after this got so popular, you saw all the big vape companies that were on the market for years before Juul even was a thing. You saw them starting to imitate this after Juul got so popular.
Right.
The same salt nicotine based thing, smaller portable thing. You know, companies have refillable pod units like this where you can put any juice you want in there. You know, people do that with their Juuls, but I don't like that. Just because it's messy. You got to take the little thing apart because you can reuse these things a couple times even after they're empty. But
it's almost become like, you know, Kleenex is kind of synonymous with tissue. I hear girls and stuff, I'm Juuling, and it's almost become.
It is mainstream now. It's been for about a year now. It's been completely mainstream to the point where it's recognized. And Juul, I think, literally personally, you thought Marlboro was the Marlboro fucking cowboy and was the most, still to this day, Marlboro Man was one of the most successful marketing campaigns in human history.
Right.
Because of how much people started smoking Marlboro and how much profit they gained and how many people switched to Marlboros when they started doing that. Because Marlboro that campaign was around the time where it was kind of like, is cigarette smoking bad for you? Nah, I'm a cowboy.
Right.
That's that. I'm a man or whatever. I'm an independent individual, hardworking person. And I want to market the same because I don't care. If I want to smoke my cigarettes, I'm going to smoke my cigarettes.
Right.
While I'm lassoing that buffalo, I don't care. and you're seeing this right now, and it's very important to see this because this is almost becoming synonymous with what the Marlboro image was. And this is now the 21st century. It's 2019 now. And you have people saying, I'm juuling, I'm doing this, jewel this. Like it's people, jewel is going to be, people, when you say jewel in the next year, people are going to think you're saying jewel this thing when you're just talking about like jewels, like, you know, like diamonds or something, like jewels or stuff like that. Because you say jewel now, it is the new word.
Now, do you think cigarettes could ever be outlawed entirely? Somebody was saying Canada is trying to go like completely smoke free. Is it something that could ever be outlawed, or is it
you're never going to
too established?
If people want to smoke, they're going to smoke. That's what it comes down to, you know. And that's what it comes down to. And you see places like Australia where they're raising this, you know, a pack of cigarettes in Australia costs 30, 40 AUD a pack.
I've heard about that, yeah.
Because they just are raising they were the first ones to have plain packaging where cigarette packs aren't allowed to have any branding on it. It's all going to be warning labels and stuff like that. And then they're like, well, this ain't deterring smokers anymore, so let's just keep abusing the taxes that we're getting from it and saying that we want it's like Chicago and all these places. You know,
right.
We want people to not smoke because it's a public health issue. But at the same time, people aren't stopping. They just keep raising the tax on it and people are still buying it. But now you have something like Australia where their cigarettes are becoming so astronomically expensive, almost unsustainable in terms of someone who has a minimum wage job, wants to smoke, won't be able to support that habit because it's pretty much the equivalent of like you're buying groceries for one pack of cigarettes is what the deal is. And they're making people say, you want to buy a pack of cigarettes that week or you want to buy your groceries for the week? And it's become an issue where now people are just on the black market now. There's just so many black market people flooding the country or trying to flood with illicit tobacco from different countries and stuff like that. And there's people who are saying, whatever, like this black market stuff, it's not as good as like a regular cigarette you could buy in the store, but it's doing a job for me because I like smoking.
Well, I remember when they first started raising the prices of everything, people were driving down to Indian reservations and down to the Southeast and driving U-Haul trucks back up to New York when cigarettes were 20. Yes. I mean, it's at some point, if there's enough of a margin there, if it becomes cost prohibitive enough, people are just going to find a way around it.
And you look at someone like New York, where New York City is the highest price for cigarettes in the country, or whatever tobacco product, but cigarettes, because I believe it's like $15-16 for a bag of cigarettes in New York City. But you see this, you have people who own businesses in New York City. You see this in Chicago as well, because enforcement busts people as well with out-of-state cigarettes that they're trying to sell because they got them from Indiana or they only got one Illinois tax stamp and now the Chicago tax stamp on it too and stuff like that. And you see people in New York who literally are risking like 20 years in prison for tax evasion and stuff like that to drive a box truck from New York to Virginia to buy cigarettes, or North Carolina, and drive it all the way back, and they're risking being caught doing it and going to prison for a very long time because at that point they're like, I can't run a business anymore. And this is something that I've done my whole life. This is something that I've done, is run this business. And I have literally seen, I mean, you could talk to a lot of these old tobacco business owners who own cigarettes. When 15 years ago, a carton of Newports used to be $30 a carton, $40 a carton, and now they're coming up on 80 over here. And you see, and this price increase that they're doing, this ain't even inflation. This is just murder. It's just taxation and murder. It's robbing people blind, and people still want to smoke and they're still paying for it. Where you're going to start seeing, okay, well, maybe it's getting a little too high, so now maybe make the extra half-hour trip to Indiana to go buy cigarettes for $2 less a pack.
Right.
Kind of a deal. Or people say, hell, I'm just going to go to Missouri and stock up my car and buy 15 cartons of cigarettes, 20 cartons of cigarettes, and try a 6-hour drive. I'll make a trip out of it in a day, and I'll be stocked on cigarettes for a while, you know.
It's one more kind of interesting thing. And I think we kind of talked about this before we went live, but just societal acceptance of different things in government. And obviously marijuana is taking hold in the Midwest here. I think Michigan just legalized, and I think Illinois might try to beat them to it. I think we're swearing in the new, is it governor today? Yeah, the new governor today.
Already calling for tax increases.
Is he?
Oh, yeah.
And
we expected it.
A buddy of mine had said that Colorado Denver is already trying to legalize mushrooms now. Absolutely. Recreationally. And I was kind of surprised that it's kind of like marijuana has been kind of a 30 to 40 year evolution to getting to the level. Like
To the
even 10
mainstream.
years ago, it was still pretty taboo.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought if that actually happens, man, mushrooms like really leapfrog to go from something kind of illicit to potentially being illegal here within the next year or something like that.
Trying to use mushrooms and stuff for medical
For
purposes.
therapy, yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the fine line. That's when it comes to drugs. So, like, I don't smoke weed. I don't consume it. On a personal note, because I don't have a problem with people that do. Now, this legalization that we're having with it, like, you know, medically, I'm like, okay, well, people find a lot of medical purpose for it. A lot of people it helps them with their medical issues when they smoke weed and stuff like that. And now you have the recreational coming out, and the recreational, I'm like, I don't have an issue with it, but now people now they're saying it's like, oh, man, it's legalized shrooms, so I'm like, let's hopefully the federal government lets the states decide what they want to do with this, because that's the beautiful thing about the republic of this country is that a lot of the states can just run themselves. You know, the federal government is there. It's just kind of this ultimate deciding power on a lot of things. But the states are left up to a lot of power. And you see that. You know, you see that states have these incredible laws that the other 49 states don't have just because they have it. Because
what's kind of cool is it's kind of each state can kind of act as a testing ground, and either this flops, but at least it's only in a small area, or it's applicable to.
And at the same time, you know, I think that, you know, I think that there's a power to abuse marijuana, which a lot of people do, I think.
Right.
You know, you can talk about the stoners and stuff like that, and people who literally just do it on a
24/7,
a ridiculous amount. And, you know, I don't agree with that. But then again, it's like, well, they're going to use the argument with people who smoke cigarettes and stuff like that. I understand. But, you know, I had someone go to Denver. This was when and this was like probably what year did they legalize?
Has it been about 2 years, something like that, maybe?
Yeah. And I had someone go last year to like Denver, and they said it was weird. They said that like there's a lot of weird people there now.
Yeah.
Like a lot of stoners, like maybe burnout people, like walking around and stuff like that. It's something you didn't see in Colorado when this wasn't legalized there. And a lot of people in Colorado already smoked weed even before it was legal. You know, it was just kind of that place where everyone's like, all right, let's go ahead and just legalize it because everyone already doing it. But you started seeing like people are really just going out on like weed vacations now, and it's kind of weird. Like and you see like these people like kind of walk around the streets a little bit just blazed out of their mind, stuff like that. And it's kind of like it's a weird societal effect is what it comes down to.
Kind of changes the dynamic of the city a little bit.
Absolutely. And like someone can walk down the street smoking a cigarette and it doesn't really change the dynamic except the scent in the air. You know, but if someone who smokes a cigarette, I mean, are you really debilitated by it? Are you like, it's like not making you like high or blazed out of your mind like something like marijuana or other drugs do to you, you know, but when everyone's kind of doing it in that same area, it just kind of seems weird, and it just changes. It's the societal dynamic of the area, and that's something that needs to be investigated too. Definitely, as this legalization is going on throughout the country, they need to look at what is it doing to the community, what is it doing to the people who are living around there. Because some people are going to have an issue with it, and it's going to, you know, are you going to want your kids like raising kids over there, you know, when everyone's walking around stoned out of their mind and shit like that, you know, is it friendly? You know,
one interesting thing, I don't know what you hear both sides throwing out studies, and one will make this seem really bad, one will make it seem good, and they manipulate the data. But the one thing I have heard, and I'm not sure where I fall on this, but I remember as a kid, garage hopping.
Mm-hmm.
And don't recommend it, but as a kid, it was so hard to get beer that you drive around and look for an open garage with a case of beer in there, and you run in and grab the beer. And because it was being sold by establishments who have a liquor license and have something on the line to lose, it was hard to get. They're not going to sell to an underage kid, whereas a drug dealer, they're already breaking the law. They don't really have any qualms about that.
They don't care. Exactly.
So I was wondering if with the legalization, I'm sure you'll still have black market stuff, but is your local 7-Eleven who has a lease and a liquor license and a marijuana license, are they going to put that on the line to sell to an under? Probably. So in that sense, sometimes it makes it harder to get, but you never really know.
Depends on how hard the government wants to enforce that
too, right? Yeah.
There you go. Because if you want to sell, if your store can sell, like again, these dispensaries stuff like that, like you got to be 21, have license, you know, ID, valid ID, and stuff like that. Be 21 to smoke recreationally in a lot of states. But what happens, like if the state enforcement says, like, okay, well, we do these random enforcement checks, like they do with liquor and like they do with cigarettes and stuff at tobacco stores. They send some minor in to try to buy something and try to catch you slipping up. Well, they do that, you know, they do something with weed, you know, what's going to be the stake for it? Is it like, oh, if you get caught selling to a minor once, we're going to
lose
revoke your license? I think that's the stake that needs to be brought up,
Right.
because that's the only way you're gonna regulate it, and that's the only way you're gonna scare these people who do businesses. This is the same thing with businesses that sold this shit to minors all the time, and now there's an epidemic everywhere in the schools and the high schools and junior high schools everywhere in this country, because people were just selling this like candy. It was so easy. You go online and buy this stuff. You do anything. Like, it just there needs to be some form of regulation where a lot of these products, just to kind of control it a little bit, because this thing right here, like, they were trying to decrease smoking rates, and smoking rates are still on the decline, but now the vape use is just through the roof. Now the whole work of offsetting, of getting people away from smoking cigarettes, has now been completely offset and just dwindled by the fact that now this is just shot
to a different product. Yeah,
you've offset the cigarette smokers. Now they're all vaping now,
right?
But we still don't know if this is unhealthy, just like back in the day we didn't know if cigarettes was unhealthy, So, and this is, these vapes, this is the ultimate guinea pig test. This is something that even by the time
not enough time has passed, right, to really know what the implications of.
Absolutely. And I don't even know by the time, you and I, if we're still on this earth, we're even going to know what is the actual ramifications of these things going to be.
I saw someone when I was kind of doing a little bit of research before we sat down, and someone had made a video, 10 things Juul doesn't want you to know. And obviously this is just some YouTube, right? I didn't fact check them, but they said that there's like a lot of high levels of like certain metals and things like that in some of these companies. I don't know if that's true or not, but
because that's the thing with this vape market, which is why it needs to be regulated, is because the market was just flooded by thousands and thousands of different Chinese products and stuff like that, which are just flowing into this country legally, which are being sold. And all these companies have their own standards, if any standards, to make these products, and we do not know. And that's why it kind of needs to be broken. This is the same thing with cigarettes. Like, these vapes need to be broken down, and it's coming soon. You're going to see this soon, where the FDA is going to require all these companies to do these pre-market applications, and most of these companies are about 90% of the vape companies are going to disappear. 90% of the brands you see every day, the vape store, are going to disappear. You're going to see these vape stores go out of business. All these pop-up vape stores that just pop way too many.
Every other corner,
because the profit was tremendous, because it was an unregulated market. You're going to see all these guys go under. You're going to see all these vape companies go under. There's only going to be a couple big ones left, and that's going to be Juul, and obviously Big Tobacco has their vape products as well, and those are going to be standing still. Those are going to be standing, but you're going to see a lot of the market dry out, because these companies, people are making this shit out of you can make this shit out of your basement, for Christ's sake, and sell these vapes and stuff like that. Nobody cares.
It's just what juice and the flavor and
the juices and stuff like that. It's just so unregulated, and that's the thing, is like, there's no quality control with a lot of this stuff that's on the market, especially a lot of stuff from China. This is like Apple, designed in California, made in China kind of deal. But even they have a factory manufacturing it to their standards, and there's all these standards that this company has to make this high quality product that they do. And there's just so many other vapes out there that don't have that. And that's what we wonder. And how is the effect of that data going to reach 50 years from now, when someone started smoking 4 different vapes, and then eventually for the rest of their life they started smoking a Juul?
Which one?
How are we going to be able to determine the health effects of that? And that's the same thing that I say on cigarettes, is like, someone could. You have a lot of instances where people smoke cigarettes their whole life and they don't have any health issues whatsoever, and then there's people who have completely terrible, debilitating effects from it. And you have to wonder, is like, every person, every human being has different composition on this planet. And it's like, what is the little critical inconsistency in everyone's body or their DNA or their structure that is going to fuck up one day and cause something like that? We're never going to know that.
Right.
I mean, we know that, yes, cigarette smoking can be detrimental to your health, but I cannot honestly agree that it is. Like, the way that they put it, like, oh, this is like, it's like a cancer. They say it's a cancer, there's cancer in a pack of 20. You pack your cigarettes, you wake up to cancer, is what they say nowadays. But it's been so vilified, but we don't even know what this is doing. This is pretty much the equivalent. That's just not smoking. There's no burning or tobacco going on in here. It's just vaping. But we don't know what that's going to do. I mean, I do know that it does appear to be healthier. Even my personal, I've gone on a couple binges where I've just used that for a couple weeks straight. And then you go without smoking for a little bit, and your lungs are repairing themselves, and you're coughing up stuff for a couple days or a week after that, and then your body just becomes normal again, and then you're not coughing anymore, and you're not having tar or anything coming up anymore. And I've done this with this, and it does that, and it's true. Like, your body does seem to go through a little detoxification from switching from cigarettes to this thing. but what else is it doing?
Right.
I don't know. Are the effects so minimal? You know, I've seen people do tests. You know, they do those dumb tests on YouTube where they make a thing that smokes 20 cigarettes at once or 20 cigarettes in succession.
They show
and they show how much tar is in there. There's one guy who did a video on that, and then he did a video with a vape, and what was left from the vape was a clear residue, probably water vapor and maybe whatever little ingredients,
glycerin or something.
But the effect considered from cigarettes was tremendous.
Right.
It was like a 98% reduction in anything that cigarettes
through there.
show. It was incredible. But again, that test itself is terrible.
Right.
Because all it is you're
visual more than
it's visual. It's not a human body that's repairing itself every day, or respiratory, cardiovascular function. It's not showing that.
Right.
And you're never really going to see that. Unless you wanted to have a person from the day they're born and the day they're 18 start smoking and keep them in a lab until the day they're 60 and die.
And actually,
doing the same thing every day, you're never going to have that. That's why it's very subjective. But this thing, I do think it's healthier than tobacco smoking. I do believe it is. I'm not saying it is, but there's something to it. But we just have to ride this weird phrase and this weird trend, and we have to see in how many years down the road are they going to determine that this might actually be bad for you.
Right.
Bad, maybe not as bad as cigarettes, but is it
harmful in some way?
Correct.
Now, we'll wrap this up for people who want to check you out. Where can they find you at? Or what platform are you the most active on?
YouTube, Nick the Smoker. That's all you gotta look up.
Yeah.
There's Instagram and stuff like that too, but YouTube, Nick the Smoker is where you can find me at.
And before we cut out, someone had asked about your Zippo.
Yes.
Is that a vintage or something? Somebody.
So this is actually I have a lot of really good fans and a lot of really dear people, and I have a PO box and people will send me letters and will send me mail and stuff like that sometimes. And one of my viewers actually sent me this, and you can take a look at it yourself and look at it. But it's a Zippo that he had engraved with, hey, how you doing, Nick the Smoker? Come another review on there. And I think it's
how y'all doing? I like that. Yeah, I think that's kind of your phrase.
Because I do some of those like unboxing and stuff like that when people send me mail and stuff like that. And this one in particular kind of almost made me tear up a little bit.
Right.
Because I'm like, wow, like
somebody took time out of their day to.
Absolutely. And ever since then, I've been using it every day.
Right.
I had been using different Zippos throughout the years, but there was one I was using that had like dragons and had teeth and stuff on the front of it. And it looked really cool. Literally the day after I got this, that other Zippo faceplate of the dragon.
I think I saw that on Instagram.
Absolutely. And then I'm like, that's perfect.
Right.
That's a godsend. That's godsend. All right, it's time to start using this one. So I was going to start using this one regardless, but it just happened that way. It's like, no, now you're not using that one. You're using this one for sure. It's like a force telling you have to use this. Well,
thank you very much for joining us. I know I found your channel, and I thought your niche and everything was really interesting. I think you faced some interesting challenges. So you're not too far. So I noticed we got a lot of comments, a lot of engagement. So if you're down for that, I'd love to meet up again, chat some other time, kind of see how the growth goes. I know we talked about whether you get a plaque at 100,000 or not with how YouTube was. But yeah, I'd love to have you back on and chat again sometime.
I'd love to be on again, my friend. It's been a pleasure today.
Okay, so check out Nick the Smoker on YouTube, and I think in his About channel, in his About Us channel section of his channel, I think he links to his Instagram and some other things, but I believe it's Nick the Smoker across the board. So feel free to check out his stuff. Thanks again for coming on, and appreciate all you guys hanging with us for the live stream. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Later.